Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. It is your one and only D-Wizzle. Welcome back to my channel. This is the first edition of the D-Wizzle podcast, episode number 1. And today we have something very special for you. It is Marvel Month. And so that means we're going to be talking about all of the Marvel films leading up to Avengers Infinity War coming out April 27th. This week, we're going to be focusing on Phase 1. That's right, all the films in Phase 1, from Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Captain America the First Avenger, Thor, and the Avengers, or how the UK says Avengers Assembled. But yeah, we're going to talk about all those films. And then next week after that, we're going to be talking about the films in Phase 2. And then the week after, we're going to be doing Phase 3. And then, of course, we're going to have the huge giant ass spoiler discussion for Avengers Infinity War when we all see it. So, joining me on this podcast are two special guests. We have Dr. Nick.
Yeah, hello there.
And we have Captain Eagle.
Hello.
Yes. We had one other special guest that was supposed to come, but she wasn't able to make it. Crimson Amazon. She's fighting illness. We wish her the best. Hope she gets better. Hopefully she'll be able to make it for the Phase 2 podcast. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into the films. So in case you didn't see in the title screen right there, this is a spoiler-filled discussion. So we're going to talk about every little detail about these films. Because we assume that you've seen the films by now. It's been years. So I think the first Iron Man came out in 2008. So yeah, we're assuming everyone, Kate, saw it and saw it by now. So we're going to talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen the films, I suggest that you go watch them and then come back and listen to this. Or if you don't care about spoilers, you can go ahead and watch anyway, because it's going to be fun. So if there's a specific movie that you're waiting for us to talk about, I'm going to put time slots in the description so you can just skip to whatever movie you want us to talk about. But I encourage you guys to watch the whole thing because it's going to be very fun. We're going to talk about lots of things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be oodles of fun. So without further ado, we're going to get into the first film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man, that came out in 2008, and we will come at you with that review after this cool trailer clip.
Nothing good will stop. I'm working on something.
Alright, Iron Man 1. So yeah, this film came out in 2008. I believe Disney didn't have the rights to Iron Man just yet. Paramount was starting to slate off. Starting with I would say a C-level character when it came to the Marvel Universe. I'll start with this actually. When it came overall with the Avengers, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Avengers growing up. I mean, I've read about them, I know who they are, but they're not my favorite characters. I grew up with Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four. I knew about the Hulk because he's so big of a household name at that point. But yeah, those were my main three. So Avengers wasn't really something I got into. I knew about Iron Man I watched him on the TV shows like Spider-Man, the old Spider-Man TV show, and he would make appearances on the Fantastic Four show and stuff like that. But other than that, I couldn't really get into him. So when I heard they were going to start this universe with Iron Man, I was like, man, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, guys. It's like, what are you going to do with this? Is this going to be... people even going to come see this? Because, like, nobody really knows who Iron Man is. Robert Downey Jr., nobody was really caring about him at the time. But, to my surprise, I remember seeing this in the theater, and, man, was I blown away. This movie was amazing. Robert Downey Jr. was the perfect casting for Tony Stark. I had all my doubts with this film going in. I was hoping it would at least be okay. It was more than okay. It was such a good time. So we're just going to start with the stuff that we did like about it, stuff we didn't like about it. We're going to talk about some nerdy, geeky Easter eggs and all that stuff. So we're going to start off with Dr. Nick. What did you think about Iron Man 2008?
Well, going before Iron Man came out, I did know about Iron Man. I didn't really read much of his comic books. I did know of him from his animated cartoon and appearances in the Incredible Hulk's cartoon. But
yeah, I forgot about his TV show I saw also.
But I didn't really know. He wasn't like a household name. But then once they said, hey, we're going to be making a movie about Iron Man, I was like, really? Well, I hope it's good, because my God, it was 10 years ago. I was like 12 around that time. But find out they're making an Iron movie, and then the trailers came out, and it was like, wow, this looks actually pretty good. And now, mind you, this was still the 2000s, so we were still in the dark clothes, broody era.
Yeah, the Daredevils and
we were still getting out of that. So this, had humor. Didn't seem like it was broody. And then movie comes out. It's great. Like, it's a great movie. You don't even have to be a big superhero aficionado, and it still is a great movie for anyone to watch. And really, this saved Robert Downey Jr.'s career, because he was kind of in a downward spiral. He was slowly coming up, but this really saved his career, and it's just an entertaining movie from top to bottom.
Captain Eagle, what did you think about Iron Man?
I really like this movie. This is still one of my favorite movies in the franchise. When this came out, I didn't really know anything about Iron Man other than he was a cool guy in a suit. Because I had seen Iron Man in an old Marvel video game that I had played. And he used to play something called Marvel Battle Dice. And he was a character I had in that. That was a really fun game that died out quick. But, so I was familiar with Marvel characters, but I didn't know anything about them. So I was like, okay, I'll watch this, because I don't read the comics. So I just go in, into the movie and just take it for what it is. And I as well was really surprised. I didn't really have any sort of expectations for it. And yeah, Robert Downey Jr. was a really cool, likable guy, I thought just his whole upcoming of him becoming Iron Man was really great. It was just a really entertaining movie, and it got me interested to see more.
All right. So, yeah, when we talk about what really worked about this film, we keep saying Robert Downey Jr., Robert Downey Jr. Going in, I wasn't even a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan. I hadn't really watched his films, but it's like after this, it just blows my mind how much he is Tony Stark. If he didn't work, the movie wouldn't work. And he definitely worked. It's just, he captures that. He captures that good mix of being, the playboy and, being kind of a, stuck up, but at the same time he has a heart of gold. it's like he found a great way to mix those two. And plus, I love this chemistry that he had with Pepper Potts. Like those two together, I think they're amazing. The way they change dialogue with each other, the way they that Pepper Potts pretty much knows Tony. It's like he helps him organize everything that he does. Pretty much, they're both two peas in the pot, I would say. What else did we like about it? Obadiah Stane. I want to just talk about the villain because I want to jump to the villain. Obadiah Stane. I really liked him as a character. We'll talk about Ironmonger later, but like also he's another person that was really good. It's like because you could tell the history that he had with Tony, and also because he used to work with his father Howard Stark, and pretty much trying to help Tony build his legacy and stuff like that. So as far as I could buy him as a friend of Tony. He wasn't just the mustache twirling villain up until a point. Like I said, we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's just
that and Jeff Bridges will always give a solid performance.
Jeff Bridges always gives a solid performance. Like it's like you can never really you can always count on him to put his all in it. Rhodey.
Oh yeah. I literally rewatched the movie before this podcast, and I forgot about Rhodey too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like best friend of Tony. It's like he was really good, even though he wasn't. The actor who played Rhodey in this movie didn't get to play him in the future films, but
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. Yep.
Yeah, I liked him. I actually wish we could have seen him be Rhodey in future installments, because a lot of times Don Cheadle's Rhodey comes off as kind of cold, and I don't know, I just felt like there was more of a friendship, between Terrence Howard's version of the character.
I definitely see what you mean. I still felt a little bit of coldness from Terrence, a little bit. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Don Cheadle had a little bit more, but it's like I think that's kind of like part of his character, because like Tony can slack off quite a bit, and it's like he just doesn't take everything as seriously as he should. So I feel like Rhodey is his good like companion to be like to make sure that he's in check, So I wasn't really bothered by Cheadle's coldness, but yeah, Terrence, I did wish he had more had more of a chance to play Rhodey in future films, because he was really good. I know a lot of people just forgot about him because he got recast. The same thing with Edward Norton with the Hulk, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I thought Terrence Howard was really good. I have to say, like the overall opening in the desert when he gets captured by terrorists, that was done very, very well. People forget, like, before they, Disney started, sugaring things up, it's like, dude, the Phase 1 movies are pretty dark. Mm-hmm. And, like, this scene in particular, like, was a testament to that. It's like they found a good balance between humor, and the dark and serious, Because, like, dude, Tony gets blown up. His chest gets blown up. And this freaking shrapnel in his freaking heart that's about to kill. That's, like, I don't know how dark. I don't know, that's as dark as you can get. And it's like they didn't sugarcoat it at all. It's like this is some heavy stuff. But it didn't feel jarring at all. If anything, it helped with, with the overall stakes of the situation. I thought the leader of the what was the name of the terrorist organization? The 12 Rings, I think. Yeah, the bald guy. Yeah, I thought he was a very menacing villain, even though he didn't have a lot of screen time. I thought he was done very well as overall terrorist. I don't expect a lot of development when it came to him, but it's like he served his purpose. But overall, I think the best thing about this film is like how resourceful Tony is. Like, he's always a step ahead of everyone else. Even when it seems like he's slacking off and, like, not taking things seriously, he always knows what you're about to do before you even do it. And when he's trying to create his suit in the cave and all that stuff, I thought that was just great. Like, he is so resourceful. Like Obadiah says, Tony Stark's able to build this stuff in a cave with a bunch of scraps.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. That was really cool because I didn't know, the Iron Man origin story. So seeing him, like get blown up by this bomb and be captured by terrorists, and to see him like at this low point was like really surprising for me going into this.
Yeah, and he single-handedly was able to create the arc reactor that was preventing the shrapnels from going in his chest. It's like, dude, like this guy is OP, man, for sure. He's the best. And his whole sequence with the Mark 1 armor, like that was amazing. The way that the director what's the director's name?
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Yes, Jon Favreau.
Happy Hogan.
Yeah, he was Happy Hogan in this movie. He was only had like 2 scenes in here, but he'll have more of a role in like 2 and 3. But yeah, just Jon Favreau, I thought, did an excellent job with the action sequences. I think the last thing action-wise that he did was Zathura, or was it Cowboys and Aliens? Or I think that came out a year after. But like, yeah, the way he handled action in this movie was really good. He was able to mix the CGI and the practical effects very well, which I feel like future installments in the MCU are kind of lacking now. But it's like he found a good balance, and because this is not really a genre that he does a lot. And he just came here and made it look seamless. For that opening sequence when he's escaping from the 12 rings, and when Iron Man was like flying for the first time in his Mark II, and his overall fight with Obadiah Ironmonger, that was handled pretty well. It's just like, it was amazing. I would say the editing in this film is top notch. It's like, there's not an ounce of fat in this film. Everything is going by at this terrific pace. The humor is calculated perfectly. Just so much good that they did with the film. Let's talk about the suit real quick. The suit is beautiful.
There's a reason why everyone uses the MCU Iron Man look.
Yes, cause that was it just looks so slick because going off of the TV shows like the old cartoons, it's like, I always thought the suit looked kind of corny. It just and kind of clunky.
Yeah.
The physics was just all over the place. I'm just like, how's the suit doing all this stuff? But in this movie, it made it seem plausible. Actually, even though technically it probably isn't possible, but it made it seem like it is. It's like a good sense of the film being grounded, but at the same time having the whimsical stuff being in there, in the right places. It's like it didn't take me out, the stuff that the suit was doing. I was like, yeah, I can buy it. I can buy like freaking lasers coming out of this suit. I can buy it flying and outrunning these jets. Dude, the jet sequence is great too, man. That was amazing.
Like every action sequence, like when he went back to Afghanistan, was it
yeah,
because his missiles were stolen. He just went down there.
Mm-hmm.
The tank shot him down, and they just shot like a tiny little missile at it, and it blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's just so many great parts. Like when he does the target lock, because the terrorists have the civilians captured, but he's able to kill all the terrorists at one time. I don't know, all the action in this movie is just really great.
Oh, and let's not fluff over the fact that Iron Man does kill people.
Yes, he kills people.
There is actual.
So for people that are complaining about other comic book properties we're not going to name right now that are killing people, dude, Iron Man is murking people. It's like there's
Batman.
Let's talk about that.
This is Marvel podcast.
It's just a Roman man. That's what it is.
But yeah, it's it was just it's amazing how he was able to, even before he even gets in the action stuff, when he's just testing out his suit in his garage. Even that was entertaining. It's it's very fascinating how he's putting the suits together and what every crick and cranny that goes into them. And I also have to say those freaking robotic hands that he has that keeps goofing off. That was funny. I thought it was going to be stupid, but I was like, no, they were actually entertaining. I was like, I wish they were still here now. But yeah, just little bits that help the scene, make the scene better. The Crane's like just messing up, being like, "If you gas me again, I'm going to donate you to a community college." I'm like, oh my goodness.
And something else I think brought that scene up is I really liked Jarvis.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, he was just a computer, but
Just
like he was, like just an entertaining, like just helper supercomputer, there with Tony to figure everything out.
Yeah, Jarvis was really, really good. The second coming of Alfred, in my opinion. No, not gonna talk about the other comic book property, but anyway, yeah, Jarvis was great. He, like you said, didn't have a physical appearance at all, but you could tell he has a lot of personality. And
which is funny because Paul Bettany said he's pretty much recorded all his lines in about an hour, and then went home and went on vacation with his family.
And it made it seem like Paul Bettany was like recording his
Yep.
stuff like
Live
on
record.
set.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like that's how good it was. I'm just very astounded. Dude, the overall the way that they used the holograms and the hubs, and that was really cool. A lot of detail when he's just like checking stuff on his computer and the holograms just popping up in front of him. That's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I think that's just going to be the main tagline for this review. It's cool. This movie's just so goddamn cool, man. I think what makes this movie stand out even to this day is like, I'm going to go back to Robert Downey's performance as Iron Man, because like I said, it's like, because with future installments, what I felt like they were lacking is like the heart of gold that Tony has, and Tony definitely has that heart of gold in this movie. Because yeah, at first he is the douche, he's an asshole, he's the stuck-up playboy, but I felt like he really developed himself as a character as the movie progressed, because once he figures out like all the stuff that his weapons are causing death and all that, he wants to take responsibility for that. Protect the ones that he cares for, and I just felt like that overall message, helped me to.
There's a Spider-Man quote that will go along with that.
I wonder what
quote
that could be. And then with great power comes great responsibility. Of course, yes, yes. I think this fits here. It's like, yeah, this is why I say this is my favorite Tony Stark performance in the entire cinematic universe so far. Still, this first movie, because while he is that playboy, he still is a very likable character, and you still feel like he's caring and sympathetic towards situations and all that.
And he wants to do the right thing.
He
doesn't
do the right
want
thing.
bad things to happen. He feels guilty when the terrorists are using his weapons. It's like, this is wrong. That's not what I made these weapons for.
Like, so he stops being selfish for once and thinks about other people. That's what I loved about it, for sure. So yeah, we've been gushing about this film for a while, but I'm sure we have like a couple issues with it. I don't have a lot of issues. I'll be honest with you.
There is a cushion for his butt.
Yes, but yeah, it's like, is there anything that we thought could have been better or improved? Ironmonger. Let's just talk about Ironmonger. As I said, I thought Obadiah Stane worked to an extent. Like I said, I bought him as the old friend of Howard's, and being a mentor to Tony. I thought that whole thing worked. Even when he's, you find out that he's the mastermind, with selling Tony's weapons and stuff like that. Outsmarting the 12 rings. Even I thought that was cool. He very clever. But when he puts on that suit, he just turns into a completely different person. He turns into the mustache twirling, I'm going to kill everything and destroy everything. No. I'm sorry. It's just, he had me, but then it's like the film had to stop and be like, wait, we're a superhero film. We need to have a giant climactic battle with two Iron Mans, fighting. So that's pretty much what that was. I'm not saying that I wasn't entertained by the fight with Iron Man and Ironmonger, because it was a cool fight scene, but it made the movie feel a bit lopsided when it got to that point, because you felt up until that point the movie was very paced, everything felt grounded, but and everything had a logical standpoint. But when it got to Ironmonger, that's when it started turning into a straight up comic book film, and it just, I don't know how I feel. But what you guys feel about Ironmonger?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Honestly, until I rewatched it, I forgot about Ironmonger, and then I was like, oh yeah, this was at the end, because it is a little disappointing once you have this sort of Lex Luthor-y type of villain just goes on and puts a power armor on. It's like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is honestly pretty forgettable in my opinion, even though the sequence is a great sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little disappointing once he has to go back to being pretty much a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys liked him when he was just more like brains?
Yeah, when he was more brains, because I thought when he was just being the corrupted businessman and like pulling strings, because I thought his overall plan was actually kind of clever, like making a deal with the 12 rings to get the technology for his own benefit. That was actually, I'm buying what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But what makes the Ironmonger thing stand out so much is the fact that he, while he's manipulating these plans to go forward, nothing in his plan said that he wanted to put innocent people in danger. Mm-hmm. And not put on a giant mech suit where you're putting yourself out in the open. It's like, it just doesn't make sense, because this whole time he's trying to make his plan all secrecy and stuff like that. And when you create this giant suit and just throwing cars everywhere, you're exposing yourself pretty much. And that's his whole plan up to the point was not to get exposed. And so
it's like he's trying to get away with his plan, but he's like clearly making himself a criminal by doing that. And so I see what you guys are saying, because I enjoyed him as Ironmonger. I was like, oh yeah, it's a cool sequence. The big suit was cool. It was nice to see them fight. But I see what you say about how it kind of changes his character, because I liked him as a character. He was interesting, but I haven't read the comics, but I knew that there was, something fishy up with him. Mm-hmm. I got a villain vibe from him early on in the movie. Maybe it's just his glare that he has. It's just his glare, his demeanor.
You're like, I could tell really early, he's going to be the villain. It's like, but...
Even though he was, caring and supportive of Tony early on, it's like, something's off.
Something's off, yes. But, so... then I can't think of anything else really I had an issue with this film. The movie's that damn good. It's like, that's really the only thing about it that I'm like, that could have been better. But even then, it doesn't ruin the film. It's still entertaining sequence. It's just that could have been just handled better. But other than that, this was just...
like nitpicks. I can't even
really think of anything nitpicks, but I think big. General consensus is we pretty much think this is a great movie.
This is a great film. This is yes, an awesome starting off point. I think the only thing left for us to talk about with this movie is the end credit scene.
Oh yes,
the end credit scene, man. I was the idiot who didn't stay for the credits.
Really?
Yeah, I had to learn about it later online. I'm like, oh my god, why didn't I stay till the credits? Yes, we're talking about when Tony Stark comes back home and he's like, wait, why is the security all messed up? And then, off in the distance at the other side, standing by the window is this dark figure saying, you think you're the only superhero in the world? You're part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Yeah. And reveal Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. And telling Tony, I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. When I saw that, I'm like, whoa. Wait a minute. The Avengers... You're teasing the Avengers? Come on, guys. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's a cool, nice little tease there, but we all know that that's not going to happen. No, that's not going to happen. So, but little did I know.
And little did we know.
But yeah, I thought that was a nice stinger at the end. Very nice. Samuel Jackson, perfect person I would cast for Nick Fury. They're going, based on the ultimate Nick Fury, so it's not going to be the...
classic 616.
Right. David Hasselhoff.
Oh, God. I forgot there was a Nick Fury movie with the Hoff as
Oh, Jesus
Fury.
Christ.
Oh, God.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun fact, the Ultimate version of Nick Fury was based on Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep, it's true. They were pretty much what it was is they didn't ask him. They just went like, Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, and he was in a comic. He got the comic, and he read it, and he was like, that looks just like me. And they were scared he was going to get mad, like, you can't use my likeness or anything. He loved it. He's actually people. I think people nowadays know, but Samuel Jackson is actually a pretty big nerd. He's actually a pretty big nerd. He actually has written comics. He was in another, I believe, prior to this or after this, he was in. God, what was it? Unbreakable. With Bruce
That came out before.
Yeah, he was in Unbreakable. Hugh Glass, which now they're making a sequel. They're going to make a sequel to. Mm-hmm. But he's actually a pretty big nerd, so it's nice.
Nice there, because he lives like I'm going to be Nick Fury, right?
Yeah.
You're going to cast me Nick Fury, and yes, they did. Very. So yeah, that's our overall thoughts of Iron Man. So we're going to give a grade to it. So we're going to start with Captain Eagle. What do you give?
I just wanted to say a little bit about the post credits first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you thought it was like kind of like a joke, kind of like crazy for the franchise, for them to try and do a franchise?
Yeah, at that point when I saw that, I'm like, because let's think about it, because this tells like how far we've come when it came to comic book films today. That end credit scenes became a regular thing, but before before Iron Man came out, man, like people just leave stingers in the back just to be like, hey, that's a nice little nod there. But people weren't that ambitious to be like, hey, that's actually set up for a bigger universe, So, like, yeah, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, man, that's actually really cool. But that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
no.
this is the first of its kind, really, with building a big cinematic universe. But I guess I did have faith in it. Like I took it straight. I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing this, because I knew about the Avengers, and immediately when he turned around, I knew that was Nick Fury, because I had played the I think it was Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like video.
Oh yeah, I love Marvel.
So that's how I knew about a lot of the characters, including Iron Man. But it was by luck that I saw that scene, because the only post credit scenes I had seen at that point were the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. They all have post credits.
Oh yeah.
So I just by chance, I always watch the credits. So I watched this on DVD. I didn't see it in the theaters. And then, I got to the end. I was like, oh my gosh, there's another scene. And, it was, crazy. And that got me super excited to see other ones. So great start to the franchise. I give it an A.
Yep. Dr. Nick, what do you give Iron Man? Your ending thoughts and then grade.
Ending thoughts. It's still very entertaining movie. Amazingly that it took 17 years to actually get this film off the ground. They planned this all the way since 1990 to get this movie. Originally it was going to be Universal Studios to get this. And you can tell that they wanted to get this off the ground, and it shows. So I have to give it a solid A. Solid A. Great time. I think everyone can agree this is a great start to this universe.
This is still remains to be one of my favorite films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie did so much to kick off a franchise, but it's not even just a good kickoff start, it's just a great film overall, and it made me more of a fan of Iron Man than I was before.
I think everyone after this became like, wow, Iron Man's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, he's become
awesome.
He's become a household name at this point. And it's thanks to Robert Downey Jr., thanks to Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper. I can't emphasize enough that, the chemistry between those two are really great. Just the way Jon Favreau directed this film, it's you could tell he really loved the character and wanted to do the character justice. But yeah, just overall, it's just a fun time. Very, really good, solid film. I give it an A also. It's an A. Very great film. Alright, so that's our thoughts on Iron Man. hold on. So the next we're going to talk about is the film that came out from Universal. That's also part of the universe, even though it's with Paramount. But like, yeah, The Incredible Hulk.
Oh yes,
we're going to talk about The Incredible Hulk. The follow up to this one.
Came out the same year.
The same year, exactly. So we will be back with you with our thoughts on The Incredible Hulk after this cool trailer clip. Okay, we are back. We're going to talk about The Incredible Hulk. This also came out the same year as Iron Man 2008. Second entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but this one was not helmed by Paramount. It was helmed by Universal Studios because Universal Studios still owned the film rights to the Hulk. And kind of a douchey move of Universal. After this movie, they wouldn't let Paramount or Disney create any more Hulk films. I don't know why. Because he appears in all the other films going forward. But yeah, so this is our first introduction to the Hulk in this universe. Not played by first played by Edward Norton. Edward Norton was an interesting choice for this. I think I am a fan of his. But, you know, it's just when it came to the Hulk, I'm like, I don't know. I don't really see him as Bruce Banner. But to my surprise, once again, I thought he was pretty good as Bruce Banner. His Hulk, though, yeah, we'll get into that. But what did Dr. Nick? What did you think about the Incredible Hulk?
No, I love the Hulk. Hulk is actually one of my favorite. He is one of my favorite comic book characters. Literally, I had a Hulk costume, Halloween costume that I used to wear that stuff all the time, and I liked this movie. Now, I did like. We can't talk about this movie without talking about the other Hulk movie that came before this.
Oh, goodness.
And Ang Lee's Hulk.
I did not see it.
Yeah, good thing you did.
Yeah, you're one of the lucky ones because it's an A and M movie. I would say it's a meh movie. It's not, but it's trying something different, but I feel like it was too risky for what Aang was trying to do with that movie, but this is a much better Hulk movie. And fun fact, Louis Leterrier actually wanted Mark Ruffalo to play as Bruce Banner, but Marvel, actually, the studios wanted Edward Norton. And now it's funny because Mark Ruffalo is the current Bruce Banner for the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, with Edward Norton's Bruce, I didn't like it that much. Sometimes he didn't feel like Bruce Banner-y, but it wasn't enough to detract me from it and just be miserable the entire time. Like, nope, that's not Bruce. That's not Bruce. This is ruined. I cannot deal with it.
All right, Captain Eagle, what did you think about the Incredible Hulk?
I think it's fine. It's probably lower on my list of Marvel movies in the franchise. Although some recent ones have taken the bottom spots over Incredible Hulk.
We'll get to those.
Oh boy,
we'll get to those
yeah,
when we get there.
But I guess I'm just not a huge fan of the whole character. I don't know. He just I don't know. I just don't think Hulk is that interesting of a character. It's just a guy who turns into a giant green guy who just attacks everything. I don't know. I actually did read a couple of Hulk comics when I was a kid. I don't know. I think Hulk's kind of like a depressing character. I just feel bad for the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe that's why I just don't care for Hulk that much, just because he's like so screwed. Just trying to get himself cured, and he's a loner, trying to be on his own. I did kind of get that with this movie. I thought Edward Norton was fine. I could buy him, trying to, be a loner. But I kind of got that more with Mark Ruffalo later on. I think Ruffalo's a better Hulk and Bruce Banner. But I don't mind Edward Norton. I don't know. What should I say right now?
Yeah, and no, actually, speaking of, since this is the second Incredible Hulk movie, Louis Leterrier he actually liked Ang Lee's movie, and he concurred, and he talked to Marvel that continued the franchise, it would be better to jump from Ang Lee's more cerebral style, how that movie was, and focus on an action film. He also thought, in keeping with how Hulk's poetic feel, that the Hulk storyline is actually pretty tragic. The visual effects were mostly, he said, the special effects were pretty much a fluorescent green guy. In his words, these are his words.
Okay.
A fluorescent green guy who was simply flying around. He had no weight and was too smooth looking, so he wished to make the visual effects grittier and darker and perhaps even scarier. Hence why sometimes this movie, if you took the scenes out of context, like the scene in the factory where pretty much Hulk, where we barely see the Hulk, that's why it feels more horror, had like a horror aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. That was like a scary scene.
Literally, you barely see the Hulk, and literally he's snatching people. He's like, you see him in the shadows. That's the reason why he wanted like that, so we wouldn't compare to the brighter 2003 Hulk movie.
Doc, did you feel like this, like the way the story was structured in this movie? Did you feel like this was kind of like it felt like a sequel to the Ang Lee Hulk?
Sort of. It could be sort of.
Because it's funny that you say these things. It's like really, because this does feel similar to like the story structure of the first.
It does because, and even the Ang Lee Hulk ends with him in, I believe, was it South America? Bruce ended up in South America, and I believe the beginning of it does take place in Brazil, so you could call this, and actually, the director calls it that. He calls it a requel. He calls it a reboot sequel, so you could say this does take place after, if you liked Ang Lee's Hulk, you could say this continues it.
To get more specific with my thoughts on the Hulk, when I compare it to the other members of the Avengers, the Hulk is the one that I follow the most, and even then it wasn't really a whole lot. The only reason I really knew about the Hulk, because Hulk was such a household name at that point, it's hard for you not to know who he is. And so I did grow up watching the TV shows. I thought those were entertaining, and when he made his appearances in Fantastic Four, I thought that was cool. But I would say I kind of agree with what Eagle is saying. Like, he's not that interesting of a character. He does have some... he is a very sympathetic character, though, don't get me wrong, because the whole thing about, him being a loner, being afraid of hurting people, hurting the people that he cares about the most, that's something you can get behind. And, him being the whole... scientists trying to figure out, how to get rid of this, condition that he's in, but can't find a way to, figure it out. That is heartbreaking. So, but yeah, I do get it gets to a point where it gets too depressing because he's always in the slump and he's always like, I don't want to be the Hulk at all. He's just too dangerous. I can't be around people. He's like that way, like the majority of the time, and it's just hard for you to just, continue to be behind him being so depressed. But like for me, Edward Norton wasn't too depressed.
Yeah.
I thought he was a good Hulk. His Bruce Banner, I thought, was more of a relatable character than the other incarnations that I've seen from the TV shows and the Ang Lee version. He felt like a normal person. So it helped me to help me ground myself along with his character, because he does feel like an everyday person. But this movie doesn't really take the risks that Iron Man does. This feels really more like a straightforward, run from the law monster movie, pretty much. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but just, I know, because a lot of people compare this to, Iron Man, because this came out right after, so they're expecting something that's as good of a quality as Iron Man, and it's like, I think that's kind of unfair, because I feel like Tony Stark is more of a dimensional character than Banner is. I think Banner works best when he's working off of other people. When he's by himself, he doesn't have a lot to, he doesn't have a lot to go off of, other than he wants to get rid of the Hulk, pretty much.
I agree with that.
And then, his whole thing with Thunderbolt Ross, that's pretty much the majority of it. Like when I notice, even in the comic books and the TV show, when he's interacting with other characters like the Fantastic Four, when you have other geniuses that he's working off of, like Reed Richards and stuff like that, you can feel there's more weight to his motivations, because they're specific. There's a different thing that he's going after, that takes his mind off of the Hulk per se for a minute. So it's like with this, I think for the most part they did what they could with it, and they fixed a lot of the problems that Ang Lee did with his other film. Now, when it came to the actual Hulk himself, now when you were saying that they were trying to make his design a little bit more gritty, I think that's actually a nice approach. I think the problem with it is that they went a little too gritty.
Yeah, he really looks.
He looks like an alien.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. As much as I didn't like the Ang Lee Hulk, the one thing that I didn't have a problem with was his overall design. Yeah. I thought the design of the Hulk in the original film, it looked like more realistic, and it was more imposing, and you could tell the overall CGI was rendered. His color was a little too lime green though, but that movie, I felt like, okay, I believe that the Hulk is actually in the real world. But this one, there's certain scenes where his CGI doesn't really mesh well with the real world, and you're constantly, being reminded that it's a CGI effect. So I wish they could have fixed that better, especially because this came out 5 years after the Ang Lee version, and that one has better special effects than this one. Now, that doesn't reflect how I feel about the Hulk character overall. The Hulk, character-wise in this movie was great. I thought his action sequences were done really well. It's one of my favorite scenes of the Hulk's was in this movie, especially that fight in Harlem. Was fantastic. We'll get to that. But yeah, his fighting scenes I still thought was done well. The choreography was done really good. The set pieces were done very well. But yeah, I just wish his design was done a little better.
Speaking of his design, the film is actually tinted the same shade as Hulk's skin.
Okay.
I actually didn't mind his design. I like the gritty look to it.
Yeah, like I say, I did like it. I did like the approach of making it gritty. It's just, I don't think it's the design that's bothering me. It's the way that it's rendered, because it didn't look as real as the previous version. They improved it a lot when with Mark Ruffalo came, but yeah, just that one was better. Let's talk about supporting cast. Liv Tyler is Betty Ross. She was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was fine. I mean, yeah. Once again, she doesn't have as much development as Pepper Potts, but
Betty. Even in the comics on it, she really isn't that fleshed out. She doesn't really do a lot much. She's mostly just trying to help Bruce, and it's not like a Pepper Potts where she's sassy or
right. She's just that I don't want to. This is not me trying to insult her, but she is kind of a daffodil a little bit. It's just there. I couldn't really get into her character in the comic books or the TV shows at all. But yeah, she was pretty much the person trying to help Bruce, and of course, there's a little romance going on with her and Banner, which I thought was nice. And one of the things I really liked about it was that they didn't have to go through the whole origin again. They pretty much summed up the whole origin in the opening title sequences, which was homaging the old TV shows.
This what they had was another thing.
I thought that was really good.
To get a feel of how the original show with Bill Bixby, which I still watch this very day. That TV series was still great.
Mm-hmm. And Lou Ferrigno actually appeared in this movie as a cameo.
Both he and Stan are the only two people who were both in the Ang Lee movie and this version. Pretty much Lou Ferrigno now is the Hulk. Mm-hmm. Like you can't really think of anyone who does the sounds and who pretty much is the Hulk. He is. Yeah, he's the Hulk nowadays.
He is that's probably the first person that people think of when it comes to the Hulk nowadays, other than Mark Ruffalo, because he was really good. But yeah, Thunderbolt Ross, played by William Hurt.
Oh yeah,
he was great.
He was great.
He was just so great. He was straight out of the comic books, and a lot of people forget that he actually is a kind of an antagonist and a villain, and it's like he wasn't a mustache twirling villain.
He's not. Even though he has a great mustache,
he does have an awesome mustache for sure. But his motivations, you actually are behind it because, as they established in the opening titles, the Hulk, because of Banner's reckless experiment, it caused his daughter to get to be in danger, and possibly the rest of the world. So, he wants to do all that he can to shut him down, pretty much. So it's when it came to that motivation, I'm like, yeah, you're a douche, but I understand why you're a douche.
Kind of like a certain villain in
another
certain
Marvel film
movie.
Yes, which we will get to. Definitely, we will get to. But yeah, I thought William Hurt was great as Thunderbolt Ross.
I liked him.
Of course, later on, he does have the scheme of he wants to use the same serum to create, that Banner has, and wants to create super soldiers out of that, and so that typical thing that's happening. But it's that I thought that was all right. That's what the government does, really, just conspiracy stuff.
Reminds me of a joke I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the government. I'm the government. I'm the reason nothing works.
That's funny. That's pretty much the theme of these the future films we're going to talk about. Government. Yep. If you could see that every time we talk about when the government screws up in this film, that'd be amazing. But yeah, Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yes,
I forgot about him.
AKA Mr. Blue.
AKA also the leader.
The leader.
I didn't realize that was supposed to be the leader.
Yeah, it took me a minute to realize.
I mean the leader.
So no, there is pretty much. How Iron Man has the Mandarin, Batman has the Joker. The leader is pretty much one of the Hulk's big villains, and pretty much the leader pretty much has a big old head that's green. And you remember when the guy started to get the Hulk's blood on him, his head started to grow.
Yeah,
that's the lead. He was supposed to be the leader. They never went back to him, but he was supposed to be pretty much one of the Hulk's biggest baddies.
Oh crap! Are they gonna come back to that,
dude?
I don't think they're coming back to that now.
That is such a fucking shame.
I never knew what that was when his head did the weird thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until a few months ago that was supposed to be the leader, and they never went back.
Yeah, I didn't know if he died or if he just got messed up.
I think that was a drop plot point because it hasn't come back in anything else.
Well, if Universal let them do another Hulk movie,
yeah,
come on, you douche pickles.
I even think Mark said that they're not doing another.
I'd want to see that.
Breaks my heart because.
Or why don't you find a loophole and just have the leader appear in an Avengers film if you don't want to do a Hulk film? Just have him appear as a villain, Masters of Evil or something. Yeah. I want to see the leader. It's because I thought Samuel Stearns was the entertaining character, and it's
he was fantastic. He was great. He was great. He had great chemistry. Literally, it still blows my mind.
Yeah, I like the back and forth between him and Bruce trying to figure stuff out.
And plus, it's a Reservoir Dogs reference in it. because remember they keep calling themselves Mr. Blue, Mr. Green.
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
reference to Reservoir Dogs. Mr. Blue, Mr. Green, Mr. Pink.
That's clever.
Which our villain Tim Roth was in.
Oh,
Speaking of
Transition. See that transition?
Tim Roth as Abomination. I don't even know his name.
I think it's Emil Blonsky.
yeah, that's
Emil
it.
That's
Blonsky?
his real name.
Yeah, Emil
Okay.
Blonsky.
Okay, so Emil Blonsky, there's not much to him really. He's just a soldier taking commands, and then he becomes a guinea pig of the super soldier experiment that Thunderbolt Ross does, and of course that corrupts him, and then he wants more serum and more power, and so he goes to Stearns and gets more serum to turn him into what he will be later on as the Abomination. No, there's not much I can really say about him.
I gotta say he was not good. I didn't like Blonsky. I love me some Tim Roth. Tim Roth's a great,
Tim Roth's a great
Roth's
actor.
fantastic. But I didn't like when he was Emil, but when he was Abomination, I did very much enjoy him.
Oh yeah, when he was Abomination, that was cool.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. And plus, in the comics, pretty much the Abomination is the equal to the Hulk, and he has more of a I would say like a goblin gremlin with pointed ears.
Right.
The director Leterrier wanted to keep the pointed ears because he actually wanted Hulk when they were fighting in Harlem. He wanted Hulk to rip one of his ears off. A reference to the Mike Tyson biting off someone's ear during a fight. But
that would have been awesome.
they could have, but they was like, that's too far for a PG-13 movie. But
Isn't Abomination supposed to be like this dark green?
yeah. In the comics and the cartoons, he's a darker shade.
Yeah, I think I did read a comic with Abomination in it.
And no, this is another thing. This was the third comic book film of summer 2018 that did not get nominated for an Academy Award. Think about it, we had Dark Knight, Hellboy 2, and The Incredible Hulk. All summer 2020. I know I said 2018, but no, 2008.
I don't think
Christopher Nolan Dick Riders.
But yeah, I didn't think Hulk was going to win anything really, because there's not really anything I could say like, oh man, you deserve an award.
Yeah,
I think Incredible Hulk falls under the radar just in general.
It
People
does.
forget about
Yeah,
it.
people
I
forget.
think it's because a lot of people now are so used to Mark Ruffalo's incarnation, we forget that he had his own movie.
But then there's some people who are like, oh yeah, I've seen them all, and then except for like Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, it's like,
Hopefully.
come on guys, it's part of the universe. It's still canon.
And it's the shortest movie too. It's only hour 28 minutes.
No, it has to be longer than that.
It's got to be close to 2 hours.
Hour 52.
Hour
Okay.
52.
Hour 52.
Yeah.
It's the shortest film in the entire MCU.
Yeah, so if y'all didn't see it by now, well, first of all, I don't know why you're watching this if you haven't seen it, but yeah, you guys need to go.
It's
just
worth
watch
a
it.
watch.
It's worth a watch,
It's still
definitely.
worth a watch.
Yeah, I didn't mind Blonsky. Getting back to that, he, like we said, he's a pretty, pretty basic character with that sort of arc. But I didn't mind him. Abomination was cool. So when he finally got to that,
Yeah, it's like, Blonsky didn't bother me like that much because, like I said, he's only there to be a soldier and then be the guinea pig. So for that, I thought it was fine. But yeah, I want to talk about it now. Abomination and Hulk in Harlem. Jesus Christ!
Climax, that was beautiful.
That was amazing! It's one of my favorite superhero fights. That one right there. That's what I always wanted to see from the Hulk. Gritty, down and dirty, just smashing a bunch of crap on each other.
Speaking of smashing, when he said Hulk smash,
I was like, oh!
I got goosebumps. That's his word. That is Hulk.
That was
when he spoke
amazing.
in the Ang Lee movie. He didn't speak. He
No,
only
he didn't
said
say anything.
2 words in the Ang Lee movie, and that was in a dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hulk does speak. He does. They may not be broken English like in Thor Ragnarok, but he does have some intelligence. And literally, when he said Hulk smash, I did cheer. I did cheer like a little boy. So happy.
Yeah, that's the one thing when it comes to Hulk incarnations. I'm not a huge fan of Banner being the one able to talk, and then Hulk is just a non-speaking monster. That I wasn't a fan of that. I like the dual personality that Hulk has his own mind and Banner has his own mind, and they're both at each other. At random parts. So I'm glad that they did more of that, in Ragnarok and stuff like that. But yeah, when it comes to just the brainless monster, I couldn't really get into it.
One of the few good things about Ragnarok.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I know.
I will let you explode when we get there.
You'll have your reward.
But yeah, so
looking back on that Harlem fight now, it's like, after rewatching it recently, it's a really great fight. And I guess I have a new appreciation for it, because when I first saw the movie, when I think I saw it 2000, actually I think I saw it in 2012 or something, right before I went to go see Avengers. It actually kind of took me off guard how like gritty and just
just
raw
tense,
it was. Yeah, it was kind of like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this.
But yeah, that is something I've just been waiting to see, because and you have to be going up after Hulk fights some big ass bulldogs.
I was about to say it's better than fighting 2 bulldogs and a mutant poodle.
Oh,
and
Jesus!
fighting his dad.
That was in the Ang Lee.
Oh,
Remember that was an angle. That was in the Ang Lee one.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, he fights pretty much 3 mutant dogs, and then at the end he fights his father, who is pretty much the absorbing man.
But yeah, that was just really good. Let's see, is there anything else to say about it? Oh, I guess we could talk about the post-credit scene.
Actually, it's not a post-credit.
Oh yeah,
scene.
it's
just an end scene. I think this is the
only one
that does not have a post-credit scene. It's just a final scene.
Thanks, Universal.
I want to say though about that. I think comic movies would fare better if they structured the scenes that way, because especially if you're going to make us wait for 10 minutes for a stinger, it's like it either has to be like an awesome, like, oh my god, what's going to happen type of scene, or just don't have one at all. Because what I'm noticing in the future Marvel films is that when they have us wait till the very end, they give us a stinger that's pretty much pointless, and it's just like a humor type one.
Yeah, they abuse it.
So I'm like, with this one, you have a nice little stinger at the end before the credits start, and it's like, yeah, you can send them off on their way, because people gotta work the next day, man. You can't have us waiting. I'm like, yeah. So, but that's just a nitpicky thing. Even I'm okay if they just had a post-credit scene and didn't have an end-credit scene at the very end after the credits. If they had a post-credit scene and it was done, mid-credit scene. I'm sorry, mid-credit scene. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, if they just had a mid-credit scene, I think it'll be much better. It would flow a lot better. But yeah, I just don't need that. So I was fine with it being at the very end before the credits. But let's talk about the scene itself. So Thunderbolt Ross is drinking at a bar, and then somebody opens the door and to see the silhouette, and who walks in? Mr. Tony Stark himself, and that pretty much confirming the fact that he is helping put the team together, and we all know what that team is, the Avengers. And at that point, I was like, oh wow, they're really doing this. Yeah. Like this is not a joke. They're actually trying to set something up. I'm like, and so it got me really excited, but at the same time, it got me really scared, because I didn't know how they were going to do this, really, because this is, at the time, it was such a risky thing to do, having these different characters come together in one movie, and just them confirming that they're going to do it, they're going to try it. I was scared for them, because I didn't know how it was going to work. Of course, we'll talk about it when it happened, but yeah, just at that point, I was like, oh man, I hope you don't crash and burn too much. But what did you guys think about the scene? How did you feel after you saw that?
When I saw that scene, I was like, okay, I was already on board with Iron Man, but after that, I knew I was on board, because literally one that showed that this was in the same universe. Not only this show this was still in the same universe. It wasn't standalone. That these were part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Also showed one that they really were planning on doing the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
I was fully on board. I was like, okay, I'm in.
What do you think?
Yeah, I love that little thing at the end. Yeah, it's a nice touch to, bring it full circle, saying, hey, yeah, this is part of the same universe. We're doing this, like you guys said. I missed Incredible Hulk, when it came out, so I saw it. I saw that and Thor outside of theaters, right before the Avengers came out. So it was already confirmed, that this was happening. But it was nice to see that scene, be like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
All right then. I think that pretty much sums up my thoughts on the Hulk. Pretty much, it's a good movie, but it wasn't fantastic. I do like Edward Norton as the Hulk. I do like Thunderbolt Ross, played by William Hurt. Samuel Stearns, he was criminally underused, and wish we could see more of him. Maybe one day, don't know. But yeah, and I thought, even though the design of the Hulk, I wish they could have worked on a little bit better. I thought this Hulk gave me some of my favorite scenes that I've seen from him. So overall, it's a solid B for me. What you think, Captain Eagle?
Probably gonna give this a C plus. I enjoyed it, but like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Hulk. I have warmed up to him, but yeah, this movie just was fine. It just wasn't one of the. It just felt like it wasn't as great of a quality as some of the other movies in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fine. Yeah.
Okay.
It was enjoyable, some good action sequences. Norton was fine. I mean, I liked watching the Hulk. I think there was some good stuff in there that just didn't fully bring me in, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Doctor, what do you final thoughts on Incredible Hulk?
I still very much like this movie. If it's on TV, I'll still sit down and watch it. It still is pretty good, and it was pretty much I'm on point for this universe, so I will give it A minus.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so that's our thoughts on the Incredible Hulk. Next one in the series, we're going to be talking about the follow-up to Iron Man 2. Yeah, we have some thoughts about that, and we will get to those thoughts after you see the trailer.
Come from a family of thieves and butchers. And now, like one guilty man, you try to rewrite your own history. And you forget all the lives which that family has destroyed. They will be blood in the water, and the shouts will come.
Alright, we are back, and we are going to be talking about Iron Man 2. It came out in 2009.
I think 2010.
2010, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2010. I didn't know there was like a year gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking their time, like they should. But yeah, Iron Man 2, follow-up to the original that came out in 2008. I would say, I think it's fair to say that everyone was really excited for a sequel because the first one was so good, and our expectations are through the roof. We couldn't help it. I remember seeing this in the theater, and the first time I saw it, I thought I liked it. I had a good time with it. when I saw a bunch of people, saying that this movie was so bad, it's horrible, I can't believe they messed it up. I was like, I really didn't understand the hate at the time, because I did genuinely enjoy it. I watched it 2 more times after this, and I was well, more than that, but like I watched it a couple more times afterwards, and I was like, yeah, I still like it. It's not as good as the first film, but I still had a good time with it. But watching it recently, I'm starting to see more why people don't really enjoy this. This movie, it's a strange one at this. John Favreau once again directed this, but you can also tell that this movie was meddled with quite a bit, and I think it's ever since they confirmed that they're going to create solo films leading up to the Avengers, and so you could feel the studio was starting to get a little too ambitious with it, and so they thought that they should take the time in Iron Man's sequel to set up for the Avengers, and I felt that really hurts the film. This movie is not awful to me. I think this movie is completely watchable, but this is a pretty significant step down to the first film. The one thing that stuck out to me the most really was Tony Stark himself. I gushed about him in the first film, like how I said, yeah, he's that playboy, asshole, but he's that likable asshole. He the heart of gold, I said. In this movie, I don't feel the heart of gold as much. I see him more as being the snarky playboy asshole, and it was hard for me to really get behind him in this film. And it's sad because there's so much thrown at him in this movie that I should feel some sympathy towards him, but I couldn't help but I couldn't get over his attitude, because this movie throws the fact that the arc reactor that's connected to his heart is also killing him, and the suit is accelerating the condition, and then you have this villain Whiplash coming back because he wants to seek revenge for, I guess, his relative not getting the recognition that Howard Stark had at the time, and then you have Justin Hammer, a competitive of Stark Industries, trying to steal the technology or put Stark Industries out of business, and then you have the whole diminishing relationship with Pepper Potts, and then you have Rhodey stealing Iron Man's suit and using it for government purposes. You have all this stuff thrown at him, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't care. Oh, not also considering the fact that Nick Fury and Scarlet Witch, I'm sorry, did I say Scarlet Witch? I'm sorry. Black Widow and Nick Fury make an appearance in this movie for some reason. Yeah, just a lot to take in, and it just doesn't all flow very well. It does. It's not. This movie's not focused. It's not focused. And it's just like, if the movie felt, if it was worrying too much about getting us excited for the next film, when it should be focused on this film. And it's really sad because I heard the pitch that Jon Favreau wanted to do for this movie, and I wish they stuck with that plan, because this left a lot to be desired. Eagle, what did you think about Iron Man 2?
I really don't like this movie. I think you're being a little too easy on Tony. He was a complete dick and a moron. Like I don't know. You just had it was just like multiple steps backwards, to where you felt like there was growth with Tony from the first Iron Man, and now he just reverted backwards, before becoming Iron Man, except it's even worse. It's just, he's always just has an attitude, and and he's just being rude to everyone. He's just an asshole. He's unlikable. I couldn't stand him in this movie. I didn't really feel for him. I don't know, when he's doing like stupid shit, like you know, when he destroys his house and he's like peeing in his suit and he's drunk off his ass, and you know,
I forgot about that.
I like all this stupid crap. It was like, what is this? Like, if this is the follow up to that amazing movie that came out 2 years prior, like it is bullshit. I do not like this movie. It's just dumb.
Okay, Dr. Nick, what did you think about Iron Man 2?
I honestly forgot this movie existed, which is sad because I own this movie.
Lucky you.
On DVD. Like, if I remember, wasn't the plan for this to try to do Demon in a Bottle? I believe wasn't the plan for this one to do pretty much a adaptation of Demon in a Bottle, which is pretty much one of Iron Man's most defining character. One of his most defining stories. It's about his alcoholism.
Yeah, that was the pitch.
That was the pitch. Yeah, the pitch is to do that arc of Tony, and it's a very good arc. You feel for that, and it tries to be too silly, like what Dwayne said, that it tries to set up what's coming up, but then it doesn't. But then there's no substance to it. It's just it's very forgettable in my opinion.
So yeah, let's just get into the details of it. One thing I really loved about the first film was the chemistry between Tony and Pepper. There's still glimpses of their good chemistry, but this one, it just felt like teenagers bantering at one another, yelling at each other. Like literally, it's just and like it doesn't come off as charming anymore. It just comes off as, you know, just childish. It's just, and once again, going back, it's like it's hard for us to, you know, really get behind him as a character because he's making stupid decisions, and Pepper's calling him out on it, and he just refuses not to listen. And then Rhodey's doing the same thing, you know, telling him that, you know, he's messing up, he needs to take things seriously, and Tony's like, oh, you do what I want, and Tony Stark. But then Rhodey's like, no, you have to take stuff seriously, man. Look what you're doing. You're causing a bunch of stupid stuff to happen. But yeah, just like, this is not the same Tony from the first film. It's not. And maybe I was being a little too hard on him. I mean, maybe I was being a little too easy on him because, yeah, thinking about it more, it's just, I don't know what happened. You know, because he is making stupid decisions. He's getting himself killed, and he has this condition in his chest, and he refuses to doesn't tell anyone about it. And then he's treating, you know, the stuff with Whiplash and Justin Hammer, you know, like he's treating that like it's not as serious, you know, matters to deal with, but it's, you know, it is. Freaking Whiplash, I really feel bad for him because I can see a good character in him, but the movie doesn't focus enough on him for us to get really invested in his motivations, because it is a tragedy that he's going through. But you forget about that because, you know, the movie wants to focus on other stupid crap happening. And so it's like, it's really, I don't understand why they felt the need to dumb it down so much when the first film wasn't dumb at all. It was really smart and clever. Yes, it had its whimsical moments, but it still kept us grounded in reality. This doesn't even, you know, match the physics of the first film. You have this cartoony, like, It took. Let me give an example specifically, because for people that don't understand what I'm saying, Iron Man in the first film, we saw how many steps it took for him to be able to pilot a suit, or even get it, you know, even invent the suit. It took a lot of steps. It took a lot of hours. And it took a lot of, you know, trial and tribulation to do it. He wasn't able to figure it out the first time go around. But then in this movie, you have Rhodey, who has never used Tony's technology at all, and is just able to jump into a suit and get into a fight with him in his mansion. What? What in the world? It's like, this doesn't make any sense. They're just putting stuff for convenience purpose, for convenience sake, so they can just get to the next cameo or the next setup for the future films. It's just baffling. And then we get to, let's talk about the stupid setup for future films. We get it. The Avengers is happening, but you don't have to stop the film to tell us that. This is this thing I was worried about when they officially, made it, when they announced it was for real. They were going to blink, and they were going to, let it all get to their head, and it's going to be all about setting up for that film in the future. And I didn't want that to happen, and now this film is hurting. Why is Nick Fury and Black Widow in this film? Can anybody answer me that?
I don't think we can.
Exactly. Nick, now, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Nick in this film. I really liked him. He was entertaining for the scenes that he was in. But I'm really watching this film, and I'm like, I don't know why you're here. You don't progress the film. You're stopping the film so Tony can do something else. You're having Agent Coulson put him on house arrest for no reason.
Okay, we didn't talk about Agent Coulson yet.
Yeah, I feel bad. I didn't talk about Agent Coulson in the first film. He was actually really good in the first film. I enjoyed him a lot.
That's how we're introduced to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, the Strategic Homeland Intervention of Logistics Division. I'm sorry,
yeah,
something like that. But yeah, that was a nice touch there in the first film. They didn't shove it in your face that it's S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, and more than that, Agent Coulson was really good in the first film. In this film, it's more of the same, but they're making him do stupid stuff. Like, why is Tony Stark on house arrest?
Yeah, and Coulson's babysitting him or whatever.
He's doing a bad job because he left, and then Tony was able to go see Pepper. Like, so what kind of babysitting are you doing? And if you think about it, if Tony didn't leave, then he wouldn't have figured out how to create a new arc reactor. So that was pretty much pointless.
Fuck that, because that was stupid. All right, they're trying to build this conflict with the thing that's saving him, is actually killing him, and that's interesting. But then they don't even bother to explain it well or say what Tony's doing to create to fix it. Can you guys explain to me what exactly he did? Because he did some mumbo jumbo bullshit with some weird laser thing to create a new element somehow. A new element. Are you kidding me?
I don't even remember what material he used to do that.
No, I have no idea. And you know what? Comic book logic. I'm okay with, with suspending my disbelief, but you gotta give some kind of reason as to why things are the way that they are. And there's no explanation, or it's just explained very poorly. So you're building up this conflict with Tony trying to fix himself, but then you just very quickly resolve it.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so we backtracking on the end of the first film, because I forgot to talk about this too. Tony Stark reveals to the world that he's Iron Man.
Yeah, we didn't say that.
Yes, yes. So at that point, he should know the dangers and risks that he just put on himself by doing that. And so in this film, they try to address the fact that the government, is trying to shut him down and take all of his suits. Now, that scene in the courtroom, I actually liked it. It was funny.
That is a great scene.
That's a nice scene, but
he's being too much of a dick.
He's being too much of a dick.
But I still, I he's right though. They can't take his suits as his property.
They can't take his suits, and it's that's really the only time that they really address the fact. It should be a little bit more complicated than that. And yes, you have Justin Hammer trying to shut him down too, but that didn't really work very well. I like Justin Hammer in this movie, but he's once again lost in the shuffle, just like Whiplash.
He was irritating. I didn't like him. I didn't think he needed to be in the movie, because I think that would have been saved screen time to use for something else.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things you could save screen time for. But yeah, I thought he was funny. I don't know. Just every time he opened his mouth, I'm just like, dude, stupid. But yeah, I liked him. I like the banter that he has with Whiplash. But like I said, I forget he's in the film because you have so much other stuff happening. Okay, I'm about to rant real quick about Black Widow in this movie. What the hell was that? I wasn't as infuriated as I was, I wasn't infuriated with her character as much as I was now, because analyzing her character, she was really bad, and not about her performance. Her performance was serviceable, but the way they treated her character in this film was just juvenile. Literally. There's like literally 4 times in this film where they pan up her ass and Michael Bay like freaking panning around her like she's some sort of bimbo.
Stuff with her, like with her clothes off. They're like treating her like a sex object when Black Widow's supposed to be like this badass, member of the Avengers.
Yes, and yeah, she has that cool fight scene at the end, but that's pretty much it. Her character is pretty much disposable. I am so glad that they improved her character in the Avengers. But as an introduction to this character, I could care less.
This doesn't even seem like the same character.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It does not. Yeah. And it's like you're shoehorning in this possible love triangle that nobody wanted.
No.
Come on, bruh. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody cares. So it's like, yeah, that was very disappointing for me. But even though I have all these problems with this film, there are still some very entertaining scenes in this movie. The fight scene at the racetrack, I thought was really cool. The whole suitcase suit, I thought that was a nice little scene. Yeah. I think the final fight with War Machine and Iron Man fighting all those drones, that's cool. And then eventually,
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was saying I got a major problem with that scene.
Okay, we'll talk about it
in
a minute. And then leading on to the scene with Mega Whiplash. There's some entertaining fight scenes. So the problem was they're over so quickly. It's like the first film took its time with the action sequences, but with these action sequences, they're happening and they're done really quick. It's like the racetrack sequence was only like 2-3 minutes, and then the final fight scene with the drones, that was like maybe 5. It's like I barely remember the action sequences because they're not that long. That's a weird thing to bring up, but that's really a testament to all the stupid filler that's in this film. Because they don't focus on that. They don't focus on the right things. Because it's really sad, because there are some really good moments in this film which keep me from saying that this is complete garbage. But I don't understand why they had to put all this unnecessary crap in here. This could have been a much more layered story. And I don't see how you couldn't have the layered story. And then if you want to put your little Easter eggs and cameras in there, fine. But why did you sacrifice the character building for stupid crap? Like Iron Man peeing in a suit, drinking and having a burly brawl with Rhodey in his house.
He blew up his house.
He blew up his house. And it's like, that's their way of addressing the alcoholism? You thought that was a better idea than what Favreau was trying to do? Like, come on, guys. But yeah, let's talk about the final fight scene, because you had an issue with it.
You basically already brought it up. I felt blue-balled, It's like, we got 2 different, like good action scenes, at the racetrack, and then a good setup for an action scene at the end with War Machine and Iron Man, fighting these drones, which, they're shooting at them, you got back and forth going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great scene. Mm-hmm. And then, Tony's like, oh, get down. So then he can do like this
That
laser thing. This Deus Ex Machina laser that just kills them all really quickly. And then
Sorry, I can only do it once.
Yeah. Like, why didn't you start with that? Like, why do you have to fucking use that at all? Because you just killed the scene. Mm-hmm. Literally. And then, you got like, what's he called?
Super Whiplash!
Like, he comes down trying to be like, oh wow, he's got a new suit, but then he just dies like a bitch really quickly. Yeah. Like, he just like blows up. Mm-hmm. And like, there's like nothing to it. Like, we got so much stupid stuff in this movie, like you were saying, and then like, yeah, you cut the action scene short when they could be more drawn out and better.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand what I could feel the movie was trying to do some development with Howard, but like,
yes, I was going to bring that up. That's one of the few parts I like about this movie is that there's a really nice moment where like Tony and Howard, they have like a hard relationship where Tony didn't really feel like his dad cared about him, like it's like he put up with him, but he was like watching old tapes to figure out stuff with his arc reactor, and there's like a special tape on there where Howard says, Tony, I built all of this for you. He was referring to like just his company in the Stark Expo thing, and he was like, I built all this for you, and you're too young to know it, but this will be yours someday, but you'll always be my greatest creation. I love you, Tony. And that was like a really great moment, one of the few good pieces of dialogue in the movie. It's so it's just really frustrating when you got a couple of key good moments in a movie full of crap.
Yeah. It's really sad because like that's the most we get out of their relationship, really, tying things together. I mean, I guess Civil War, but it's like that didn't really.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Oh shit! Oh man, I have a lot of things to say about that, but yeah, it's just that's the extent of what we get from him, and it's kind of sad though, because like I wanted a little bit more when it came to Howard, because he did play such a big role in his life, even though he didn't really realize it. And I just wish there was a way for we could see a little bit more appreciation, I guess. Because like when Tony's watching that footage, I barely see any reaction from him. He doesn't even shed a tear or cry. And I guess I get it because growing up, his dad was a douche, so there's not really much emotion he would get out of it. But I just wanted a little bit more pulling of the heartstrings. That's just a nitpicky thing for me. Is it me, or did anyone feel that the expo felt a lot like Disney World, and Howard was like Walt? I got those vibes so much.
Like it's meant to be. That was intentional.
That was like so weird. The Stark Expo. Speaking of. Cool idea and concept, but they don't go into it enough. So is this like a utopia where people can create new inventions for the future? Is this like a Tomorrowland for him? What is really the point of the expo? I want to know more about it, but they don't really talk about it. It's pretty much something to feed Tony's ego, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that's I think that's all I got to say about it. I guess we could talk about the post-credit scene, which is in New Mexico. We see where Agent Coulson left because he wasn't supposed to leave in the first place, but he went to New Mexico to look at this sighting, and there's a giant crater, and in the middle of the crater, you see a giant hammer. And I think we know who that belongs to. And that's sad. That's one of my favorite parts of the film. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts about Iron Man 2. It's not, like I said, this is not awful, I don't mind watching this again, but I'm not going on my way to watch it again. There's just too much stupid stuff happening. When we come off of the first Iron Man film, that was such a great film, and for this to just not care, it really does leave a kick to the groin. Just overall, it's just nah. I give it a C. What do you give it, Doc?
Like I said, I barely remember this movie, and what I can remember, I did enjoy to a moderate degree. Because even though the final battle was pretty short, it did give us, nowadays, technically, it did give us our first look at a certain webhead that is now part of the MCU.
Oh yeah, they confirmed that.
Is confirmed
the kid with the helmet.
The young kid, the boy who had the Iron Man helmet, who Tony saw, said, "Nice job." That was a young Peter Parker.
And you did see
what?
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
That has been confirmed. That the little boy who had the Iron Man helmet, who was doing that is Peter Parker.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that technically gave us our first glimpse of Peter Parker.
And we did see Cap Shield, even though it was fake. But yeah.
But if it was on, like, if say it was on TV and like I had nothing else to do, I would give it a watch. But if someone said, "Hey, you want to go see Iron Man 2?" I would have to skip on this. I honestly have to give it a D. I'll give it a D plus.
D plus.
D plus.
Okay. D plus. Captain Eagle.
Well, I mean, this movie was huge step down in quality, like we already said. It hurts more because the first one was so good. Mm-hmm. And I was in denial for a while. I tried to force myself to like this movie when it came out. I gotta find something in there that's good. But no, I can't. Who am I kidding? No, this movie's not good. I wouldn't say it's, fully into bad territory, because there are some good moments in it, and I enjoy Iron Man as a character despite Tony being a real moron in this movie. So I'd give it a C minus, below average.
Alright. Well, that's our thoughts on Iron Man 2. So, next one on our list is going to be the God of Thunder, Thor. Yes, and we will be back with our thoughts after you see the awesome trailer footage.
You are a vain, greedy, cruel boy. You are an old man and a fool! You're unworthy! Father, I am. And I'll take from you your power. And I cast you out!
Please open your eyes.
Oh, no, this is Earth, isn't it?
Where did it come from?
Your ancestors, COVID-19. As you call it, science. I come from a place where they're one and the same.
He has disobeyed his king. His fate is in his own hands now.
I will end this.
Alright, the next film on our list is Thor, the God of Thunder. This film came out in 2011. So had some big competition that year. Green Lantern. But anyway, so going into this, I was like, Marvel, you are totally in over your heads. How is a Thor film going to work? I knew they were going to get to it eventually, but I was just like, they could find a way around it. They don't got to do one. But nope, they're like, nope, we're gonna do it. I was really scared because, up until this point with Iron Man and Incredible Hulk, you're dealing with characters that are, for the most part, grounded. It's not realistic for someone to have gamma radiations and turn to a monster or have a high-tech suit that flies, but for the most part, you didn't deal with supernatural elements or gods or space stuff, so I was really scared with how they're going to deal with Thor, because when I remember reading the Thor comic books, they're just this colorful, whimsical magic, stuff that I'm just like, this is just too cartoony for me. I do like Greek mythology, but I'm not like super versed in it. I couldn't get into everything, so I don't know how could you translate gods in this grounded world. I didn't see this in theaters. I think it was this and Captain America that I didn't see in theaters. I think those are the only ones I didn't see in Phase 1. I waited to see it because I didn't have too much interest at the time. I remember when I first saw this film, like I think I got the DVD. I wasn't really that impressed with it. I thought it was just meh. I thought the movie spent too much time on Earth. I actually did think that the Asgard stuff was handled really well, but I just felt like they're doing the fish out of water story, and I just didn't really care for it at the time. Watching this again recently, I gotta tell you, I have no idea what happened. I really, really enjoy this film. It's just, I guess I just got a newfound appreciation for it because of all the other films in the universe that I saw, and now looking back on this, I guess it made me have a new appreciation for it. So yeah, it was really entertaining time. Going back to the Asgard stuff, like I was saying, I just didn't know how they're going to translate, something as whimsical as Asgard, translate that to film without it looking ridiculous. But they found a way, man. Asgard itself looked gorgeous. It looked like something out of a painting. Just the shots in this film was just mesmerizing. And then even the costumes were freaking amazing. I just sitting there looking at the screen like, oh wow, beautiful. I thought Chris Hemsworth as Thor, I thought he was really good. I could definitely see him as the God of Thunder. Of course, this is an origin story, so he's not the wise Thor that he is now. But so I thought this was a good starting off point where he's a little bit rough around the edges, where he's a little bit pompous and arrogant, but that was all part of his character. When it comes to the Earth stuff, though, I still don't love it, but it didn't bother me as much. I felt it was a bit charming, but I didn't really care for the overall fish out of water story that they were trying to do, even though it was part of the comic book, so they're being accurate, but I just felt there could have been a better way for them to do it. Captain Eagle, what'd you think of Thor?
I really like it. It's more of a slow burn than some of the other Marvel movies, but I was totally fine with it taking its time, just because the world and the characters were just so interesting and great to look at. And yeah, I was just totally in on what was going on. I did prefer, the stuff on Asgard over the stuff on Earth. But yeah, I was fine with what they were doing, just because the characters in the story was really good. I liked it a lot.
Dr. Nick, what did you think about Thor?
We're back to good movies again. Yay! I liked it. I really did. Asgard, like what we're saying, Asgard is beautiful. Well, what are you expecting from a Kenneth Branagh movie?
Yes, this was directed by Kenneth Branagh.
I think we could tell. it was going to look good anyway. And Chris Hemsworth, I think even here, nailed it as Thor. Because going in this, I had very low expectations because I wasn't a fan of Thor and the kind of looks. I didn't like his, Verily, Forsooth, and that
winged helmet.
Yeah, and that stupid winged helmet. I did not like Thor back then. This actually made me like Thor because they did a great job of how he doing it. And even they did the winged helmet.
And it actually looked cool.
It actually looked cool. Like, this movie was great. It was just a good movie. And fun fact... Well, no, I don't think I can say this fun fact because we're still on the main points. But I liked this movie.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Asgard since that's like the best part of the film. So yeah, Thor I thought was really good. Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
Oh yes.
Of course, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, he's amazing, amazing, amazing." I mean, yes, he did. Ended up being amazing, but in this first film, I thought he was good. He wasn't the charismatic Loki that we know now, but as a starting off point, I did like him. I did like his the relationship that he had with Thor. It's probably one of the best dynamics in the entire MCU to this day. But just that their overall camaraderie, and just like their broken relationship, I thought that was very interesting to watch. Sir Anthony Hopkins as Odin. Oh yes, yes, and just yes. He is Odin to me. He is great. He was a great Odin. I couldn't think of anyone better to play him. Yes, I guess his voice could have been a little bit more commanding, but that didn't really matter because his overall presence took over. Like, it didn't even matter. Idris Elba as Heimdall. I really liked him.
He was great.
Yes. It didn't even feel like he didn't even play Idris Elba. It's like he felt like a completely different person. I didn't even recognize him at first when I first watched him. But I was like, man, that's Idris Elba. Wow. It's like, yeah, he was really good. Yes, he's just a doorman, but he was a really cool doorman. Lady Sif and the Warriors 3. I really liked them, but they needed more screen time.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. They needed more screen time. Their overall friendship with Thor and Loki, it was fun to watch. I liked their banter and the camaraderie and how they work off of each other. You could tell that these people had history with each other. And I will say this now, and I will say it forever. I ship Thor and Sif till the end of time. So this Jade Foster stuff, which I'll get to in a minute. But I just like the whole family on Asgard. And I forget Thor's mother. Who's Thor's mother? Frigga?
Yes.
Yeah, Frigga. She plays more of a factor in the second film, so I can't really say a lot about her in this one because she didn't really have much of a presence, but I liked her. She was fine. Just like, she was barely in the film, but like I said, she gets a lot more time in the second film. The overall sequence with the frost giants I thought was entertaining. The people who played the frost giants I thought were cool. Nice effects there and there. My nitpick though, like the world of the frost giants was a little too dark, so I couldn't tell every action sequence that was happening. But when I did, it was really cool. It was nice to see Thor utilize his Mjolnir, the hammer. There's some cool set pieces they have with that, and they fight a giant frost monster too. That was nice. The overall story I liked, with Loki figuring out that he's a frost giant and never told him, and then that alone helping drive Loki into madness, and why he feels like he's being discriminated and not being able to be king and Thor is. It's like that whole dynamic I thought was really done well.
It's kind of like a smaller scale. You know, it's not like, oh, this is the end of the world that we're dealing with. You know, it's just like smaller conflict, but you still feel, you know, stakes, and you still feel, you know, care about what's going on. It didn't have to be this, you know, massive thing.
Yeah, I like that it's more, you know, self-contained. It's not always the end of the world.
It's more character-driven than, you know, just a big, I don't know, huge, like, conflict going on around them.
And then, you know, Thor, you know, dealing with, you know, dealing with the responsibilities of a king, that he can't be impulsive, or, you know, he can't just be ready to fight every time. It's not always about fighting.
Looking for war.
Yeah, looking for war. Yes. As wise Mufasa said, being brave doesn't mean you go looking for trouble. And this fits really well in this movie. So I liked that, you know, it's a nice coming of age story for him. Now let's get into the stuff on Earth. Okay. Natalie Portman as Jade Foster. She's not bad. She's just not interesting. There's not really anything to her character except she's the dorky scientist. That's really it, and she has the hots for Thor. At least that's why I keep saying that I don't really see them. I don't really see her and Thor together, and I don't really see what Thor, you know, sees in Jade. Other than the fact that, you know, he had a little bit of a connection with her and helped keep him grounded. So in that aspect, I get it. But I don't see a love aspect of it. I see more of a strong friendship. They fell in love way too quickly. And at least with Sif, you can tell that he has history with Thor, and she's more compatible with Thor. Like, they're more on the same page, and they think more the same way. But Natalie she's just not really doing it for me. I mean, it's okay because she helps Thor find the hammer and stuff like that. So in that aspect, okay, sure. But like, no, the whole kissing and no, didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. Kat Dennings, Jesus Christ,
she was the worst part.
Yeah,
she was literally the worst part.
He was bad. She wasn't as awful. She was in the Dark World, but she was bad in this. She's just an annoying teenager that just doesn't want to be there. Oh yeah, I mean college kid. I don't know. She acts like a teenager. Like doesn't want to be there, and it's just like
the annoying best friend.
It's an annoying best friend. It's like there's not much to her that I really care about. And then Stellan Skarsgård as Professor Eric. He was fine, but once again, not much. Except he acts like a nagging dad the whole time. It's like, you shouldn't be helping Thor. You're too dangerous. You're gonna get us caught. And I'm like,
my mom actually thought that Eric was Jane's dad. You didn't tell her that they were just colleagues.
Yep, that's Lily because he acts like a dad.
Yeah, he does the time. It fooled me when I first saw it too. Until they talked about it in the dialogue. They were just working together.
So yeah, that whole group, I'm just like, it could have had a better, 3 people for Thor to tag along with, but it's serviceable enough where I could get through the rest of the movie. And as far as the whole fish out of water thing with Thor, it actually wasn't as corny as I thought it was. Because like I'm watching the film and I'm like, yeah, these are the reactions that he would get, that he would do, because he was, heir to the throne. He's a powerful being, so of course at first he's gonna think that he's above everyone else. But when he's stooped down to our level, he has to learn a major lesson that everyone's treated equal. And it's like whenever he does something bad, and Jade tells him not to do that, he doesn't whine like a little kid and be like, I can do whatever I want. No, he's like, okay, I won't do that anymore then. Then that's a good character. He doesn't, that's good character development. He doesn't whine about, about little things. He actually tries to be better. So that's what make Thor to be a really good character. And surprisingly enough, S.H.I.E.L.D. plays a significant role in this movie again.
Yeah.
Agent Coulson is back, and like I said, he's like scouting the Mjolnir that's stuck onto a crater in the middle of the desert.
And get the first appearance of
Hawkeye, who does nothing.
1 second. Cameo.
Yeah, there's a little cameo before the other.
It's like, should I shoot him? Should I shoot him? Should I shoot him? No.
Oh, real quick, piggybacking off of what you said. On rewatch, I realize, that the Jane Foster romance is like too rushed. Initially I was, shipping them. I was like, oh yeah, I like them together. And now it's just like, it's fine. I'm not upset that they're together because Jane Foster's a fine enough character. She's likable enough. But I would think it'd be better if he was with Sif.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the whole thing of the Mjolnir being in the desert, since like Thor almost started the war with the Frost Giants, Odin banishes him to Earth and strips him of his powers, and so he has Mjolnir, be in a mode where whoever so holds this hammer shall hold the power of Thor. And so Thor has to learn himself, to be the true hero that he is, and not the arrogant, pompous dickhead that he was in the beginning of the film, and actually learn about responsibility. And so I should have saw this coming when I watched it, because I didn't think he was going to get it right away. But when he was, fighting through the that S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters around Mjolnir, I was almost convinced that he was going to get his powers right away, because that was kind of like, that's the way the scene was structured. It just seemed very heroic to me, and I'm like, yeah, Thor, you're going to do it. And then when he pulls it and nothing happens, I'm like, oh dang.
Yeah, I had the same reaction.
Actually, speaking of the impact, did you know that the crater that's created by the impact of Thor's hammer is actually the same design as a certain hero's shield? A certain hero we'll be seeing in the next movie is in the shape of his shield. The center where the hammer rests is in the shape of a rough draft of a star, which has 2 circles around it intending to be the stripes.
Interesting how things tie together. Nice. So yeah, so that whole thing with S.H.I.E.L.D., it didn't feel forced, it didn't feel shoehorned in. That's the natural way to, put in Easter eggs for future films. Spider-Man 2. But yeah, I thought the confrontation with the giant destroyer towards the end was cool. Of course, you had the Warriors 3 and Sif trying to help, but it's too powerful. But then Thor has this very heroic moment where he puts his life on the line for the people in that city, in that town, and that's the moment where he realizes who he truly is. I thought that overall moment was powerful, and when he gains his powers back, it was like a fuck yeah moment, and he just destroys the living crap out of that destroyer. That was a great moment for me. And the overall the scheme and plan of Loki, I thought was done really well. And the final fight confrontation with Thor and Loki, I thought was pretty good. I wish they didn't destroy the Bifrost Bridge, but don't worry, we'll get it back. Spoilers. But yeah, I thought that overall scene was cool. And the Loki, cloning himself, and Thor keeps falling for it in future films. I don't know why, but yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. Yeah, overall, this is a fun time. I liked it quite a bit. I think it's probably my second favorite. But no. Wait, sorry, I forgot about Avengers, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, it's like my third favorite film in Phase One for sure. It's just even though the fish out of water stuff was it was serviceable. I thought the Asgard stuff and the characters on Asgard and Thor himself was done very well. It really proved me wrong because I thought this was going to be a disaster. But yeah, definitely very well done. Overall thoughts, I really enjoyed it, and I want to see more from Asgard, and we do see more. But yeah, that's when it comes to that world, that's the world like that really interests me the most so far.
I wanted more from Loki because he was really great in this. It's like
definitely.
I just want to see more of him because he just Tom Hiddleston gave a great performance.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston was very good. Once again, just a really good casting with Loki. Very well done. And of course, we see more of him in this film, and he truly sinks into Loki, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, overall, I give Thor 2011 a B+. Your thoughts, Doc?
That's actually what I gave it to. Because pretty much all the Asgard stuff was great, but I did not like the fish out of water stuff a lot, and plus, Jane Foster was okay. I cannot stand Kat Dennings. I don't like Kat Dennings in this. I don't like Kat Dennings in future movies, or even Kat Dennings outside of anything else. I don't like her at all. So that was a little detraction stuff, but it wasn't enough for me to just drop it. I still enjoyed it, and it was just a great movie outside of what came before, and I honestly give it a B+.
Yeah, sounds about right to me. I'm with you guys. The fish out of water thing dragged a little bit for me, but it was good development for Thor. The characters were great. I like the story despite it being, a little bit smaller in nature. And I wanted to see more of Asgard and more of Thor and Loki. Yeah, it was really good. Give it a B+.
Sweet. So that's our thoughts on Thor 2011. Now we're about to get into the Man of Stars and Stripes, Captain America, the First Avenger. And we will get back to you on that after you see this cool trailer clip.
Well, personally, escort Adolf Hitler to the gates of hell.
How do you feel?
Taller. Your task won't be simple.
Who the hell are you? The first of many.
Your enemy is not what you expect.
This is why you were chosen.
What do you think?
I think it works.
Alright, so this is the final stop until we officially see the Avengers on the big screen. Captain America, the First Avenger. I gotta be honest with you guys. With him and Thor, these two are like the goofiest characters I've seen in the Avengers. I mean, yes, Ant-Man too, but like these two, from the core groups, like Thor and Cap, these two were the ones that weren't working for me the most. Ant-Man. But, Thor proves me wrong. I'll admit it. So it's like, I should have more confidence in this one. So I was like, okay, let me give it a chance. At least Captain America as a character, he still has a commanding presence. You still feel like he's a great leader. And, despite his ridiculous outfit and his weird ass shield that he uses. So I'm like, okay, let's see what they do with it. And who do they cast as Captain America? The Human Torch, Chris Evans. I was like, what? Chris Evans? Why Chris Evans? I'm like, he's not like, he doesn't have a commanding presence. He doesn't have that booming voice. I don't see him as a leader. And, you know, that's pretty much what I associate him with, is Human Torch of the Fantastic Four. I don't see him as Captain America. And for a while I was kind of sour on him because, you know, even though the Fantastic Four films that came before weren't that good, I did think he was really good as the Human Torch. So that whole thing was like looming over my head when I was watching this for the first time, and I wasn't enjoying this film as much. And plus, I thought the film was really cheesy. I guess this is what you come to expect with Captain America, but I just felt it was too cheesy. And yes, while Thor, and of course we know Iron Man and Incredible Hulk doesn't have that much cheesy moments, and Thor, yes, it had cheesy moments, but it wasn't that much. But this one was just cheesy, like freaking 1960s cartoon propaganda cheesy, and I was just like, I was not getting into it. The Red Skull was kind of a disappointment too. Well, watching this recently, though, once again, it's just a spark of, you know, appreciation just went to my brain. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. And I did get over the Human Torch issue there, and I just, you know, judged him as a character now. And Chris Evans, I thought, was really good as Captain America. I had a lot of my doubts going in, but it's like, I can get over his voice not being, you know, commanding, or, you know, he's not that huge muscular person that he was in the comic books. The overall character of Captain America, that was what Chris Evans gave. When, you know, having the biggest heart of gold ever, you know, doing the right thing no matter what, you know, putting himself first before others, you know, that whole characteristics were embedded in him, and I definitely saw it. This was directed by the same person who did The Rocketeer, Jim, what's his name?
Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson. Yeah. You definitely feel The Rocketeer, you know, influences in this film.
Yeah.
I like the whole aspect, you know, of the, you know, the times. They definitely got that aesthetic down really well.
He also did Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, talking about that shit. But anyway, but yeah, so it's just like the way they. What year did this take place?
It was during World War II.
World War II.
The 1940s.
Like in the 40s.
Like in the 40s, yeah. The overall aesthetic of the 1940s, I felt it. Just the way the people acted, the way they dressed this, I'm like, yep, this is the 1940s. It didn't feel too Hollywoodized for the most part. I liked his overall relationship with Bucky. Yeah, when he was all clean shaven and nice before he started getting all rugged and losing an arm. But yeah, this spoilers. This if you're watching this, you look at the title screen. Spoiler discussion, bruh. Okay, anyway. But yeah, their overall relationship I thought was cool. I'm getting too much in there. Doctor? What did you think about Captain America: The First Avenger?
Oh, we're on me now?
Yeah, we're on. Yeah, I didn't want to get too much detail, so give you guys thoughts.
I honestly fell asleep the first time I watched this. I won't even lie. Now, I don't like Captain America. Now, this is the comic books. I never liked Captain America. I always never liked him. I thought he was the cheesiest character I ever saw, and I never got on point with him. When I found out they were making another movie of Captain America, I was like, oh.
Yeah, because there was an old movie,
There was a movie in the 90s.
Oh,
and
man.
we went way back in the 70s, and they're both bad. They're terror bad.
Yeah.
So I had very low expectations for this. And then once I rewatched it again, not falling asleep, I did like it. I am a sucker for movies in the past, and I very much liked it. When I found out Chris Evans was going to play him, I'm actually one of the few people who liked the Fantastic Four movies and liked his Human Torch. So I was like, okay, let's see where it's going to go. And it was fun. It was really fun. They actually made me care for Captain America, which I was surprised. And they even managed to tie in his comic book suit with the stupid wings in a way that made sense, and then pretty much made his regular uniform practical in that universe's sense. And I liked it. And fun fact, there were actually going to be they were actually planning on doing 2 cameos in Captain America: First Avenger. They were planning on having James Logan Howlett and Eric Lenzer to be present in the movie. Now, those names may not sound familiar, but you probably know them as Wolverine and Magneto. Were actually going to have cameos in the movie since they technically were around during World War II. Logan himself was a soldier, and we all know Eric was in an internment camp. But they couldn't do it because of they didn't have the rights to do it, but they were going to make a cameo appearance.
First Class came out the same year as well.
So that would have been cool if they were able to do that. Hopefully we'll see them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And it's another fun fact. Despite the tagline with this movie of being the first Avenger, Captain America was technically not a first Avenger.
Right.
He was not part of the original team. The original team of the first Avengers team was Ant-Man, the Wasp, Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor were the first 5. It's only after the Hulk left that Captain America became an Avenger.
Yeah. I was even surprised that they were going to have him in this Avengers lineup for the first time. I was like, okay, they're going to do it.
And there's another fun fact. This movie actually has a lot of fun facts since it takes place in the past. During the expo, there's a mannequin that's wearing a red suit. That is actually a reference to the original Human Torch, the android Human Torch, not the Fantastic Four. That superhero was part of a other comic industry called Timely Comics, which was the precursor to Marvel Comics. And then there's another fun fact, and two more fun facts. When Steve comes out of the machine all buff and injected with super serum, Haley Atwell's reaction when she touches her chest and she's flabbergasted, that is actually her genuine reaction. That was her genuine reaction. And during back to the expo, when Bucky is with that girl with him, that is actually Jenna Coleman, who would become the companion for Doctor Who.
That's right. I was watching it recently. I'm like, wait, you're in this movie?
They also brought up when we watched it that Natalie Dormer's in this movie. She was making out with Cap.
Yes. It's like, you're in this movie too, Jesus.
But yeah, this movie actually made me really like this version of Captain America, and actually made me give a crap about Captain America, because, like I said, I did not like him at all.
Alright, Captain, what did you think about Captain
Captain,
America?
what did you think of the Captain?
I really liked this movie. When I heard that it was going to be Chris Evans, I was actually excited. I was looking forward to it. You know, that I'd be able to see a familiar face, since I hadn't known of any of the other actors playing the other Avengers heroes until, that role. But I enjoyed Chris Evans in Fantastic Four, despite me not liking the first Fantastic Four. I thought Silver Surfer was okay. But anyways, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give him a chance. Yeah, let's see what he can do. I probably wouldn't have wanted to see this movie if it weren't for, one of the early teaser posters or stills that showed Chris Evans as, you know, in his suit, and it was a lot more, you know, just grounded, you know, gritty looking suit. It wasn't like goofy.
Are you talking about the one where he's holding the shield and it says Avenge?
Probably.
Like he's holding the shield like that?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, that's actually the picture you're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So meta.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I didn't know really anything about Captain America, but he just seemed like a goofy character to me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it seemed like they were going to do it right, so I was looking forward to it. And they did. It was really interesting. I don't know, I thought Steve Rogers, yeah, like you said, you know, like Heart of Gold, he's like the perfect Boy Scout.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I felt for him, you know, that he wanted to help, you know, people, help his country. You know, he was like a real underdog, but he was able to come through with the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really liked the story. I really liked, it was a really cool character. The action sequences were great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, overall, another just solid addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm. One thing I gotta say, before he becomes all buff, when he's just the tiny, you know, scrawny kid, I thought the motion capture for that was done really well. It was pretty seamless. Watching it even now, I'm like, how did they do this? Like, I definitely buy Chris Evans' head on this little man's body.
Until you told me that the other day, I had no idea that that's what they did with it. Yeah, that was really good.
It's amazing. Yeah, and just I forget Stanley Tucci's in this movie. He's a scientist that helps him become big. He was really good too. Mm-hmm. It's so sad that he got killed. Spoilers, but yeah, like he was really good.
I saw that coming.
Mm-hmm. First he played young Howard Stark. I thought was cool.
Hey, wasn't that I think he's a familiar actor, isn't he?
I should look it up, right?
See. We should look it up.
Oh, yeah, what was his name? Crap.
Hold on, everyone. We're about to...
I got it. I'm near there. It is Dominic Cooper.
Yep,
Dominic Cooper.
Yes. Dominic Cooper is a fantastic actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in Preacher, too. If you haven't seen plug for Preacher on AMC, he plays the main character, and he's fantastic in it.
Is that a DC property?
It's... I believe it is a DC property.
Like it's another.
Sounds familiar.
Yes. Preacher is part of the Vertigo side,
which is owned by DC.
But yes,
yeah, that's the same thing as V for Vendetta.
Mm-hmm. Very good series.
Vertigo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I thought that motion capture was done good. Haley Atwell is Peggy Carter.
Yes, she's really good.
She's fantastic.
Yes, she's really good. She's gorgeous.
And she had a spin-off series, Agent Carter.
So, yes, her short-lived, unfortunate series.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good series. Great. She was great. You know, same exact characters in the movie. We actually got to see a live-action Jarvis in that series as well, which was played very well. I don't remember the actor's name. But yeah, as like Howard Stark's human butler. So that was really interesting to see that.
For sure. Tommy Lee Jones as Jeff Phillips.
I forget he's in this, and then when I see
Army version of Agent K.
Pretty much. But he was very entertaining as that. Well, Agent K. And he doesn't just come in for a cameo. He has a significant role in the film.
He's supporting.
Yeah, so he was done very well. Let's see who else. Yeah, I already said Sebastian Stan as Bucky.
Little baby Bucky.
Mm-hmm. It's really weird to see him starting out and then knowing where he gets to. His overall arc is like the most interesting thing to watch.
I didn't even know that was going to happen because since I haven't read the comics, I thought he was just Steve's friend, and then oh shit, he died, and I felt really bad because I liked him, and I'm like, crap, he's dead. That sucks.
Oh, so that was a good twist when we got to Winter Soldier. Wait, what?
That was a great twist for me, not having known the comics. Yeah.
But let's talk
That was an
about.
awesome twist.
But every hero has to have a villain, and what do we think of the Red Skull?
Hugo Weaving.
I really liked Red Skull, except on rewatch. It's kind of like, recently, I kind of realized what you were saying about Red Skull, to where like he's better in his Hugo Weaving form, and then when he takes off the human face part, it's just kind of
Yeah.
And he doesn't do much in the film. Like, I didn't realize before that like he doesn't really do anything as a villain. I wish they could have done more with him, or like made him look cooler, like made it look like an actual skull instead of this weird like makeup thing that you were talking about.
Right. To me, Hugo Weaving was like, I couldn't think of anyone else to play Red Skull.
Yeah.
I'm like, when I heard he was going to be Red Skull, I'm like, yes, that's great casting. And yeah, like I said, like before he reveals his disfigurement, I really bought him as as Red Skull. He had a commanding presence, and like, it's weird that Hugo's face looks scarier than his actual prosthetic, because when he rips off that mask, I'm waiting too, because they're building up in anticipation, like slowly doing it, and they're pulling it off, and they reveal that
Like, oh
yeah, if there was, even though like the comic books were like corny as hell, the one thing I really liked about those comics was Red Skull, because he was freaking scary in the comic books. He was like the second coming of Hitler in the comic books.
Well, no, Hitler's scary.
Yeah, we gotta show a cool picture of Red Skull.
Yeah, maybe I'll post a picture right here. Yeah. See what he looks like? Like, yeah, that's like freaking, that's scary. That's what I wanted to see in the film. But instead, we got the rejected.
Here's the picture of that. Yeah,
Rejected member of the Blue Man Group that turned red and angry. That's what we got. Like, he lost his intimidation factor by a lot in this. And like I said, he didn't do anything. Like, he didn't do much. He was starting to do something in the beginning, but it's like when he turned into Red Skull, he just turned into another one of those disposable villains. And that was, Red Skull was someone I was really looking forward to in this movie. I was wondering how they're going to handle him, and it's just like, it's kind of forgettable. But other than that, I mean, his overall plan, because he's the one that finds the Tesseract, and he uses the Tesseract to power his weapons for his army to take over the country. And then later we find out that this Tesseract is from Asgard. I guess like a long time ago, Odin, gave the Tesseract to humanity to hide it. And I guess they didn't do a very good job with that, because now Red Skull has it.
you found it super easy. Too.
Super easy, yes. I'm like, wow, guys, what are y'all doing? This is a pattern I noticed in these movies. Like, whenever they have to hide something very important with a lot of power, they don't do a good job hiding them. It's like, oh yeah, here it is. And it's like, oh wait, I coincidentally fall upon it somewhere. Like, come on, guys, do better than that. Yeah, going back on the positives though, like I said, the action sequences were done really well. There was a cool chase scene with Cap and this one guy who killed who killed Stanley Tucci's character. They have a little chase in the streets. That was cool. When Cap's using his shield for the first time, that was awesome. Leading a charge with other soldiers.
Yeah, that whole montage of just fighting in the war was just really cool. Seeing all this different stuff that they're doing.
Yeah. And then we get back to this movie likes to remind us this is the corny property, and then they shoehorn in the propaganda scene where Cap is wearing that cheesy outfit selling bonds and the little gals dancing in the background.
I really like that.
Yeah, I really like that too.
That would happen. Like, even in our world, we had Superman selling war bonds, and our superheroes have that. And plus, he pretty much is their equivalent of Superman. He is a super soldier. So I actually really like that scene. And plus, the other one, like the guy who played Hitler in that scene would go to then play Hitler again in the Monument Men.
Oh, jeez.
But that scene I really liked. And plus, and a lot of people actually do cosplay. A lot of girls do actually cosplay those dancers in that scene.
Hey.
Guys,
But I don't really take that whole thing with him, doing that with the whole patriotism and everything. I don't take that as a movie being cheesy. That's just like, furthering the 40s vibe, with the war going on and everything. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Okay, yeah, I do get it, what it serves in the time. So it's like, yeah, I get it. It just, yeah, for me, it was still like a little bit cheesy. But it's like that's how it is. So I'm like, okay, that's all right. Let's see what else is there. Oh yeah, I liked that little touch that they had the actual Captain America comic books in the movie. That was a very nice touch. When they were selling the bonds, it's cool. And I like that the homage to Cap's first outfit before he dons the iconic suit. He wears the jacket and the helmet and the goggles, and he had the older shield. That's a nice touch too. The one thing that kind of bothered me, though, even though I did say it did have a nice aesthetic of the 40s, I needed a little bit more grit from this movie, because at the end of the day, it's still a war film, and I wanted just more the realistic aesthetic of it being a war, but I felt like it was a little too clean. And I know you don't want to get too gritty with a Captain America film, but it's like I think they could have found a way to make it, have a balance, because like I'm looking at other films that have that's a superhero movie, and it's in a war like setting that gave me a little bit more grit, and I think we all know what that is. But
except for the blood splatter near the end of the movie, that really stood out.
Oh, that was the one. Yeah, I'm like, geez,
because of how clean the rest of the movie was.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just me. I want a little bit more of that. I don't want it to be like oh my god, like Saving Private Ryan, but it's like I just needed a little bit more intensity for me, just to help balance out the the lighthearted corniness from it. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was even though I knew that Bucky was going to come back later, the way they killed him off, I felt like it was a little bit rushed. Like it just happened. Like bam, it was like, oh dang, that's happened. Wow. Okay. Jeez, that sucks. I hate it. But I wish that was just needed a little bit more time to build up. And then, of course, when he he lands the plane into the Arctic and he freezes and stuff like that. That was a nice moment that he had with Peggy Carter. Oh, that was it got me in the field a little bit. And then I thought the movie was going to end right then and there, but it didn't. We go to present day, and Cap is woken up in the facility. Okay, first of all, what is that facility he was in when he woke up? What was that?
Nobody knows.
Did you really think that you were gonna outsmart him with that little get up you were doing? Like, come on, bro, you could have done better.
Also, why do you choose a recording of an old baseball game back when he was, living and breathing? Why not choose an old recording of a baseball game like after he had, frozen?
Yeah.
So then he never would have been able to say, hey, I remember that game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, they didn't think they were going to remember it, but nope. But yeah, that was cool. It's like, Nick Fury shows up. It's like, yeah, you've been frozen for almost 60 years. Yeah. And it's just like 40, 50 years, yeah. Well, every 90 years. No, it's been
70.
Almost 70 years.
Almost 70 years.
40, 2011, 70 years.
Yeah, so like that was a nice little thing to end off on. And he's like, I had a date. I was like, no, man, I feel you, dog. That was nice. I'd like to backtrack real quick because I forgot to say, when he's training at that camp, because of course he was the smallest person there before he, got big. And it's like, I liked how they emphasized the fact that it's not always about the muscle, it's about, being resourceful. And I like that they highlighted that. And also emphasizing the fact that, you know, he puts himself in front of others, because when Tommy Lee Jones's character throws a fake grenade, he jumps on top of the grenade and be like, "Get out of the way!" to lessen the casualties. That is Captain America.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah.
That was very good.
And you're referring to him being resourceful when he unpins the flagpole when all the other buff men are trying to
climb it. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I like that. That's like definitely. I was thinking they were going to try and, you know, put in like the muscles type thing with him, even though it wouldn't work. But it's like, no, he uses his mind. He's being clever. So I'm like, yeah, I like that. And they didn't spend too much time with him being like, "Oh man, I'm the smallest guy. I don't think I'm going to do very well, and all these bigger guys are picking on me." And he's not moping around the whole time. He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm small. I know I have some disadvantages, but I'm going to do the best I can." And that's what Cap does. So yeah. I guess I've kind of forgot about the post-credit scene in this film.
Was there?
Yeah, there was actually. So, like, Dr. Eric Selvig and Nick Fury were, you know...
Oh, no, that's at the end of Thor.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to talk about that.
Yeah,
okay.
we didn't talk about that in the Thor segment.
Yeah, so the post-credit scene in Thor, real quickly. Yeah, so that credit scene was Dr. Eric Selvig and Nick Fury were talking in this facility, and apparently did they have the Tesseract? I think they had the Tesseract, or the Loki's, or like something that powers Loki's spear. They're talking about it, and then even though the Thor movie made you think that Loki died at the end, you actually see a tease that he's going to come back. In that, so that was a nice one. That was kind of a forgettable scene to me, but
they're starting to manipulate Selvig.
Yeah. So in this one, it was just a trailer for Avengers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the post credits with this one was on pretty much Nick going more about the mission. Mission.
So yeah, that one got me pumped for sure. I'm like, wow, this is gonna happen. This is happening. But yeah, overall, Captain America: First Avenger, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I got Captain America done really well. Sometimes the cheese worked for me, and sometimes it didn't, but it was fine. Red Skull was kind of disappointing, but it's okay because Captain America was done very good. I like the overall 40s aesthetic, and it was an enjoyable film. I give this one a B. Doc.
Like I said, coming from someone who did not like Captain America, this movie actually made me care about Captain America, which is a good thing. Because it probably did that to a lot of people, and it's just a good. It's like I said, my second rewatch, I enjoyed this movie. I would have to probably give it a B plus.
Cap.
Yeah, it was a good movie for all the reasons that we pretty much already stated. It was like a good introduction for Captain America, and yeah, I thought he was a really interesting character. He was a badass. I love his uniform. I love his shield. Just everything that he does with that. Yeah, Red Skull could have been a little more, but overall, it was a good comic book movie. I'd give it a solid B.
Cool. So, now we've gotten to the moment that I know you've all been waiting for. We're going to talk about the huge Marvel team-up that they've been building for about 3 years now. We're going to talk about the Avengers. And we will get back to you with our thoughts after this cool-ass trailer.
Gentlemen, what are you prepared to do? No offense, but I don't play well with others.
Big man in suit armor. Take that away. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
turn into an enormous green race monster. Thanks.
Marvel's The Avengers. We're finally here. It's finally come. We're finally going to talk about it. I know a lot of you are waiting for us to talk about it. So this has been the film that they have been building up for 4 to 5 movies now. And just when you thought after that first end credit scene in Iron Man, when they just even teased about the possibility, you're just like, oh wow, it's amazing, right? But there's no way it could possibly happen now. It's like it's too risky. But nope, they were adamant that they were going to do it. They were going to try and make it happen. And I had my doubts for sure, even though I wanted it to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be good because, like I said, they just haven't done this before. All these characters, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, they're all totally different characters. And it's just you're worried that some people aren't going to get the attention that other characters do. You're going to be afraid that they're going to be they're going to be different interpretation than what came before. Or you're afraid it's going to be another Iron Man 2 where it's just going to build to stuff that doesn't matter. So I remember going to see this in the theater, so excited, but I was so scared. Is this going to be an Iron Man 4 with with other characters in it? What was it going to be? It's like, yeah. But man, this movie was freaking amazing. This was so good. Oh man, I haven't had so much fun in a theater in so long. They just got everything right. It's like everyone had their equal time to shine. Like all the characters, they felt the same as how you saw them when they had their solo films. The villain was really good. It was just it had an insane final act with all the superheroes working together. You bought them working together as a team, but once again, it wasn't as simple as, oh yeah, we got to work together. No, they actually had some conflict, which I was hoping for that to happen, but they did. It's like the story's very straightforward. It wasn't trying to be too ambitious or complicated. It just felt like such an amazing live action comic book. I felt like I was watching a comic book on the screen. Just a fun, amazing time. Oh, Captain Eagle, what did you think about the Avengers?
Yeah, the Avengers is awesome. Awesome movie. Yeah, just so great to finally see it all come together after 5 movies. To have all 6 of these Avengers together. It was just awesome seeing them do their thing. I don't know, it was just great setup, great villain. Just this is something that we had never seen before. Bringing together a story, like together in a franchise across several solo movies, and it turned out really great. Thanks, Joss Whedon.
Yes, thanks, Josh Whedon.
Better than Alien Resurrection.
Just wait. Okay, Dr. Nick, what did you think about the Avengers assembling for the first time?
I actually hated this movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Get out right now! Now!
I'm kidding. I love this movie. I just wanted to get Dwayne. I love this movie. I actually saw it midnight premiere with my girlfriend at the time. We actually bought tickets and we saw it midnight premiere, and it's fantastic. They just did a great job. They did a great job. You could tell that everyone in there was just having the time of their life, and it shows. I gotta get on my soapbox, but from an acting standpoint, when you can see that they that people are comfortable with each other and they're feeling it. It shows in their performance. Like, everyone there was going. Even Mark Ruffalo. This is technically his debut in the MCU, playing a character that has a movie already, and having to convince people that they're still the same character. And he did a great job. And another fun fact, in the scene where Bruce is talking about shooting him, committing suicide, and the Hulk stopping the bullet, that scene was actually filmed. That was actually a deleted scene in the Incredible Hulk, in which Edward Norton actually did try to shoot himself, but he turned into the Hulk and stopped the bullet. That scene is filmed. But there's a bunch of fun facts with this movie, like in any lab scene where Robert Downey Jr. is talking and he's just eating a lot of food. That's not planned. He literally hid a bunch of food on the set and just grabbed and just hid them, and he literally was offering people food. That was genuine. And the line where he's talking when he's first on the helicarrier and he says that man is playing Galaga, that's improv. That was actually improv, and Josh Whedon liked it so much he literally put Galaga in the scene. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it now, then
what is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? It's on DVD.
It should be everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You need to go watch it.
I think majority of people have seen this movie. It's one of the highest grossing movies now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just fantastic.
Yes. I would like to start with Mark Ruffalo since you brought it up. So when I saw that Mark Ruffalo was going to be the new Hulk, I was a bit disappointed. One, because I was really looking forward to see how Edward Norton would play off of the other characters, but I'm not a fan of Mark Ruffalo. I don't like his acting. I don't really like him in any of the films before this. So when I heard he was going to be Hulk, I'm like, oh man, we're gonna go backwards. It's going to be Eric Bana all over again. Because I just feel like I felt like he was a bland actor. It's like, I don't know how this is going to work. Just get Edward Norton back. But the moment he came on screen, I completely forgot about Edward Norton because he was really good. He was a good bit Bruce Banner, and even an even better Hulk. Jesus Christ, I loved him in this movie. Mark Ruffalo was able to have that, that calm, misdemeanor about him, but at the same time, you could feel like there's some insanity in him in a good way. He was able to channel that really well. And his overall camaraderie that he has with Stark, because they're both mad geniuses, just the way they work off of each other is really good, because one is really awkward and one is like, a playboy. So yes, very nice chemistry with these two. Yeah, he really proved me wrong, and yeah, we'll talk about the Hulk stuff later, because oh man. But yeah, just what really surprised me about this movie was how good they got all these characters together. It's like you wouldn't think that someone like Joss Whedon would be able to shuffle all these different characters together and give everyone an equal amount of screen time and that moment to shine, and they did. Thor is still Thor, Iron Man is still Iron Man, Captain America is still Captain America, and you don't feel like anything's out of place. They're all going towards one specific goal. Whether intentions that they have of getting to that goal, gets clunky along the way, because of course they have their team banter at first, because these all are so different opposing personalities. So yes, of course they're going to butt heads at first, but it all felt for the most part natural. There's some where I'm like, I don't know about that. We'll get to that in a second, but overall, just like getting all the characters right was great. Nick Fury was really good too. Pretty much he was just the person to help bring everyone together mainly. But for what the purpose he did, he was still done very well. Who is the one lady that was working with him?
Oh, Maria?
Maria, yeah, I thought she was really good
Summers,
too.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, Maria.
Maria Hill. Yeah, she was really good in the movie too. Yeah, I was kind of thinking she was just going to be like a one-off character in the background, but no, she's a significant character along with the others. Agent Coulson. Oh man, Agent Coulson. He was good in the movie. Of course, he was fanboying out the fact that he gets to meet Captain America for the first time. But he has some really good moments in this film, and it's really sad when he dies. And yes, he's still dead.
No.
He's still dead.
He's not dead anymore. All right.
Yeah.
He's still dead.
You're in denial.
I'm in denial. But
Yes,
it's
yes.
like I
He
am.
died.
Search your feelings.
But he came back to life in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Oh,
which is
Jesus.
also created by Joss Whedon.
And it's canon.
It is canon.
Oh Jesus.
Search your feelings, Dwayne. You know them to be true.
They were able to resurrect him with alien technology. Something.
Nanomachine, son.
Something. That was in the earlier seasons they talked about it. But he has yet to make an appearance in any more movies. So as far as any of the Avengers
as
think,
now.
I heard he's gonna
He's gonna be back in Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Since it's earlier in the timeline.
Yeah.
oh, it's earlier in the
It's
timeline.
It takes
Yeah.
place in the 90s.
Oh, I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yep. So.
And some future people will be talking about soon.
For sure.
Oh, but real quick on, I agree with what you guys were saying on Bruce Banner. I was worried for continuity purposes. Oh man, how's Mark Ruffalo gonna do? I hadn't seen him in anything before, so I didn't know. And I liked Edward Norton in Incredible Hulk. But yeah, as soon as he came on screen, I was like, yeah, you're a better Bruce. I can get the the calmness, trying to not have any sort of large emotions, like the loner isms. I thought he was better for the character.
Plus, with Mark Ruffalo, you can look at him as Bruce, and you can see when he uses technobabble, it looks genuine coming from him compared to Edward Norton. Edward Norton looks like a guy. He's like, oh, well, use this and use that, and you can tell he's like, I have no idea what I'm talking about. With Mark Ruffalo, it looks like he knows, like, I can do this.
Oh, something else is that, I could tell more with this than with Incredible Hulk, that when he becomes the Hulk, you can tell it's Mark Ruffalo. It looks like him still, but it's the Hulk.
They use nice motion capture.
Motion capture.
But they didn't do any motion capture for Hulk and
They didn't.
Incredible Hulk.
I believe they didn't.
I think in the Ang Lee Hulk, it was
Ang Lee Hulk, it was actually Ang Lee himself
who did it, which was kind of weird. And
Ang
then
Lee was the
Ang
Hulk?
Lee was the Hulk.
Why didn't he have Eric Bana do the...
I don't
He wanted to do the motion capture.
Yeah.
For Hulk.
and then it's like the Hulk and the Incredible Hulk was unrecognizable compared to Edward Norton. So
Yeah.
And then Mark has done the motion capture for Hulk ever since. And here's another one. You know how in the Parents of the Moneymaker shot with Hulk, where Bruce goes, "That's my secret, Cap, but I'm always angry."
yes,
And he just goes, "That's actually that was foreshadowed in Incredible Hulk in the scene where Bruce is meditating and then his eyes go green and he smiles. That's what that's meaning. That means he's controlled the Hulk, and he doesn't need to go angry more. He can just control it now. Plus, that shot in Incredible Hulk always just.
Oh man, we'll gush about that final scene.
That scene in Incredible Hulk where his eyes go green and he just smiles. I'm like, ooh, that's gives me the willies.
Yes, we will get to that scene indeed. There's so much that they did right with this film. The villain, guess who comes back? Loki comes back, and this is full mode Loki. This is not the origin Loki. This is him being the full,
Loki in his prime.
Loki in his prime, and he was great. A really good villain. He had such a presence. He's charismatic. It's just he's done really well, and they continue the dynamic that he has with Thor in the previous film. Really done very well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good choice to bring him back and have him be the main villain for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else is there? There's just so much to unpack.
I do have one thing I would say.
What's up?
One thing I dislike in this movie.
Okay.
I hate Captain America's uniform. I honestly
yeah.
hate that uniform. That is his worst costume in all of his appearance. That suit looks so classic on him. I don't know what they were thinking.
I mean, I get they were trying to make it more comic book accurate, I guess. Have a mixture between the corny suit and, like, the suit he was wearing in action in the first Avenger. But it's like, yeah, it just looks like a cosplay uniform. I just don't understand why it's just fabric. It's just light fabric. Why would you use that? Like, when everyone else's suit has more texture and layers, like, then you look at Captain America and it's just like,
Sticks out like a sore thumb.
It's like, I don't understand why you couldn't give him more padding. They fixed that in Age of Ultron, but
yeah, from here on out, even honestly, I think his best suit is in the best suit of him is Winter Soldier. But from here on out, they did an amazing job with his suits.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just here. It looks
weird. Yeah. Well, I guess going on to negatives right now. I know that Whedon was trying his best to have like a nice fan moments. But by fan moments I mean, ooh, what if we did this? Or, oh, we've never seen these two fight before. Let's find a way to do that. I just felt like the way they were trying to do fan service in this film, I thought they could have done it better. For example, when Thor tries to take Loki from Iron Man and they're fighting in the forest. Okay, now I'm not saying that they shouldn't fight, but the way that they handled it, I felt was a little bit premature, considering the fact that, in Thor, he learns not to be so impulsive, but, he's the one that starts to fight with Iron Man. And it's, people don't really notice it because, it's like, it's so fun. Oh my god, Iron Man and Thor are fighting for the first time. But I'm just thinking, you didn't have to fight right now. Could have been a better solution. Because I'm going off the impression this is a more mature Thor. This is not the impulsive Thor from the first film. So he wouldn't be just attacking people out of nowhere. And especially when Iron Man was like, yeah, as soon as he gives the cube, he's all yours. Okay, fine, whatever. But no, he's like, no, that's not good enough. I'm going to throw my hammer at your face. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I didn't like the pointless fighting with that.
Yeah, now it was an entertaining fight scene. It was really cool. But yeah, just... We knew that was fan service. We knew what it was. And also, I guess this is getting more into comic book territory, because how is Iron Man still alive when Thor shoots lightning at his suit and his suit's at 800% or some stuff like that? I'm like, oh, come on, guys, come on. Yeah, this movie just turned into a comic book, and I'm like, I'm okay with it. That's fine. But it's just like, come on, guys, comic book logic all over the place.
When I see the pointlessly fighting, it just brings back bad memories of Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, they're just fighting for no reason.
Yeah, that's kind of what it made me think of sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I get that it was part of the plot. It was part of Loki's plan, but I still felt like it diverted too much from, the Avengers are assembling, they're supposed to be a team, but there's like unnecessary conflict in Bruce becoming the Hulk inside the aircraft.
Yeah.
And then he's like destroying everything, and it goes on for a really long time. It's like, yeah, I understand he can't control it, but it's like, well, why was the movie written that way? It's like, well, you guys need to be working together, and that I kind of throw that in with the pointless fights.
Yeah, yeah. I think Loki could have done a better way of getting his plan in motion than just getting the Hulk angry. It's like could have done something a little bit more clever. I mean, it ends up working, whatever he was trying to do, but
It ends up being too precise to where it's kind of a plot convenience that it ends up working out.
Yeah. And I feel like the very beginning of the film, I felt like it was a little bit slow. I mean, it wasn't like, oh man, this is boring, but it's like it's taking its time to build things up when they could have it progress a little bit faster. Like when when Loki escapes with the mind-controlled Hawkeye and mind-controlled Eric Selvig, and I'm like, okay, this dragged on a little too long, but that's okay, because we're getting into stuff really quickly after that. When the logos come up, that's when the film just goes bam, 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 bam. So, yeah. I really like Black Widow in this movie now. She's actually a character.
Oh my gosh, totally different than Iron Man 2.
Yes. Very, very good. I wish this is what you started with. But yeah, definitely a much more interesting, compelling character. Hawkeye, he was good, but he was mind controlled
half of the movie.
For half the film.
But once he got out of it, he was
pretty good, and I like the dynamic that he has with Black Widow for sure.
Will we find what happened in Budapest? Who knows?
Well, people really want a Black Widow film, so I'm sure they'll.
Which may happen now.
Which probably will happen. I don't want it, but we're gonna get it. I'm sure all the feminists are going to be like, oh, screw you, you don't like women comic book films. Oh, man, wait till I talk about Wonder Woman one of these days. But no, it's not because of that. Because I just feel like at this point she doesn't need a solo film, because we spend so much time with her in other films. Like at this point, it just feels kind of redundant to have a solo film for her. It's like the Wolverine situation with the X-Men films. It's like he's been part of the films for all this time, and so for them to do a Wolverine film now, it's just like kind of redundant. Oh wait, they did 3? Oh man, Jesus! But yeah, that's just how I'm feeling about it. Real quick, I kind of got off track, but anyway, yeah, I did like Black Widow and Hawkeye in this movie. I wish that Hawkeye wasn't just the mind control person the whole time, but it just helped progress the story, I guess. Let's see. I do want to give credit to Joss Whedon's writing, because this overall, the dialogue in this movie is very whippy and is very, timed very good. It kind of reminded me of how well the dialogue was timed in Iron Man. It was that good, and just like I said, how all these different characters are able to play off of each other. Whedon did a really good job, getting the core of the characters and, being able to write what these characters would actually say to each other. Very well done. And like I said, it's not with all these different characters. It's not like when a snap of your finger they're going to be good working together and it's going to be, yay, you were going to fight the bad guy. No, it's like they have conflicts. It's like, yeah, one's a snarky playboy, one's a freaking soldier out of time, one's a freaking god from another dimension, and then one has a freaking anger problem. So yeah, it's going to be weird stuff happening with each other. But yeah, I'm going back to what Eagle's talking about, the overall what Loki's trying to do, get Hulk angry. It's like could have done something a little bit better, because everyone's like stressing about it now, like Fury and Stark, and Stark actually wants it to happen, but Rogers and everyone else is just panicking, and then Banner was just like, guys, chill, I'm alright, I'm okay, until an explosion happens. Wait a minute, this person that was very controlled with the Hulk and able to control, when he does it, when an explosion happens, he can't control it.
Well, I gotta say, let's think about this. That explosion, they ain't know what's gonna happen. he was in control, but then literally an explosion happens in your face, you're gonna be like, what the hell happened?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Like he was in control until an explosion happened, and then that's when he lost control.
Yeah, I guess that's a nitpicky thing for me. I was just like, you saying you control, and it's like I'm always angry, stuff like that. I'm just like, this things need to line up a little bit more, but I get that. I get that point. I want to talk about when Loki, goes into that freaking museum and just like freaking takes whatever that device he was using and just like stab it in someone's face for like eye recognition, and that music's playing in the background. That was a great scene.
A family picture.
It was a family picture. See, Marvel, it's okay to be dark. It is completely fine because that scene worked really well. And then you have Captain America coming in to try to fight Loki. Of course, it doesn't work. And then Iron Man comes in with his AC/DC, and it's like, your move. Go ahead. I dare you. And it's like, good move. And then the simple exchange between Cap and Iron Man. It's like, Mr. Stark, Captain, that's all you needed. That's all you needed. It's like, the movie didn't overindulge itself too much. It's like, it knew what moments to put in. Like what the scene needed. It just little bits like that. It's like, that's very, very good. Okay, so I know what we all want to talk about. That fight scene in New York. We all wanted to talk about it. Oh my goodness, what a freaking thrill ride that whole scene was. Starting when Hulk just walks up to that giant metal like thing flying, and then Cap's like, hey, now's a good time for you to get angry, Banner. And then he's like, yeah, that's my secret, I'm always angry. And then he just freaking morphs into the Hulk and puts that thing on the freaking pavement. Oh, that's amazing.
That's the music too, the swell,
out of most scores in the MCU that is forgettable, that Avengers theme, that is really good.
They use it 3 times.
Yes, it's just so good. And then you have that panic shot, around all the Avengers, like just.
Oh yeah,
that is a money shot. That's a money shot.
Man.
That is the money. And then also the other one, of course, after Hulk mollywops Loki in that scene.
Oh,
there.
And then after the shot of all of them standing and Loki's like, I would like that drink.
No, please. Yeah, just like, and then when you saying that when Hulk was like smiling, it's like, Cap's like, hey Hulk, smash, and then he smiles. It's like, yeah. And like I said, and then he goes in and freaking Loki's like trying to be like, oh my god, you dog creature, and I will not be bullied by. And he freaking pulls him by the leg and just throws him around like a rag doll.
Fun fact: that expression that Loki gives, that is from the director of animation. Pretty much took Tom Hiddleston and shook him like a rag doll, and shouted at him and pretty much yelled in his face. So that's what that shot expression is from Tom Hiddleston.
Wow, that was perfect. Just really funny.
This movie did make me warm up to the Hulk a bit more, just because of that stuff.
Yeah, it's like, it's not always cool. Doom and gloom. It's like, you can have fun with the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's really, just really, really good. I liked, and this is my favorite design of the Hulk so far. They really done it well, and I think it mainly was because Mark actually did the motion capture for it, so you see his mannerisms as the Hulk. You buy him morphing into this thing.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
Very, very good choice. It just this. Oh my God, there's so many good scenes in that overall sequence that I can't name them all. Just freaking Thor and Hulk fighting together side by side, and Hulk just punches him off screen. Yeah. That's funny. And then freaking Iron Man coming in and shooting a blaster deflecting off of Cap's shield to take out other Chitauri, and freaking Hawkeye coming in and shooting something out of point range. The the whole dynamic of them fighting was just it's freaking.
They're like going off each other, giving each other rides, and like all this stuff, like working cohesively as a team.
Yeah.
You know, at the end, even though it was kind of chaotic earlier on in the movie.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I do want to point out that I did like that little fight that Thor and Hulk had in
that was
the
a good fight.
Helicarrier. That was cool. And then Hulk trying to pick up the
I love that. Although I brought up a good point that kind of messed up the scene. Is that what if Thor just put his hammer on top of Hulk?
Yep, that's true.
During that whole
the
thing.
fight could have been over right then there.
You know, just wait till he calms down.
Yeah, so I think that goes back to the whole thing of this is cool to see, but this is fan service for sure. Oh, and forgot when they were fighting in the forest and Cap, tries to intervene, and he's like, then the Thor's like, I'm trying to, take Loki back to Asgard, and then Captain's like, okay, prove it, put the hammer down, and then he's like, you want to put the hammer down? It's like, you could have killed him if he didn't put his shield up. You could have killed him.
There's no reason for you to do that. Like, don't be ridiculous.
Oh my gosh!
It's like I thought you're supposed to progress from previous movie.
It's like we didn't is so excited for this movie to be happening that he just puts in all this fan service he want to see. It's like, what if this happened with this? This would be so cool. But it's like, come on, you got to calm down, Whedon.
Well,
this is cool.
It depends. What is the time period? Because even though he has progressed, even though people can progress, people can still regress back to their old ways. Like and plus, this is the first time he's meeting these people. Yeah. Like, remember, he pretty much just knows his folks, humans, and destroy. He doesn't know about a guy who made a suit of armor or a superhuman. So he's like, okay, let's go.
We still don't need Whedon blowing his whole load.
Yeah. For sure.
It's the weed.
Shakespeare in the Park. Does mother know you grab her dress?
I love that
one. He improv.
Dude, the improv is on point, man.
There's a lot of improv scenes in this movie.
Yeah, so it's just so well done.
I know. Another one is when Loki is in Germany and he fires on that police car, and that car that was actually an accident.
Oh really?
It was supposed to flip over, and it just skidding along. That was actually an accident.
Oh. And
when the Hulk roars at Iron Man, after Iron Man's sacrifice, that was improv. That was marketed during motion capture and whatnot.
Wow.
There's a lot of improv, and it works with this movie.
It works really, really well.
Which is another cool thing is, even though that Loki was the Avengers' first opponent in their comic, he's not actually like what you could say their big bad guy. You know how like the Fantastic Four, their bad guy is Dr. Doom, or so on and so forth. We have yet to see the Avengers' main bad guy, because it's not anyone we've met in the MCU yet.
Oh, it's not Purple Josh Brolin?
Nope, Thanos is pretty much, he's just kind of like Apocalypse in X-Men. He's just one bad guy, but pretty much the Avengers have one guy, and his name is actually Kang the Conqueror.
Oh,
Kang
yeah,
He's
they
actually
could do.
the Avengers main bad guy, who may be the villain in 4, or they may bring him. We don't know yet, but
I wouldn't be opposed to that if we can't get Doom or Galactus.
Kang is pretty cool.
Yes. I guess I should mention the politics stuff, because there is politics stuff in this movie, because Nick talks to these shadowy figures from the government. I don't know who these people are.
Which one of them is actually like a secretly double agent for Hydra. Like the old guy who
right.
was talking to. Yeah, he's actually in Hydra, because he's like one of the head figures in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Hydra. So that's like a cool connecting thing. It's like they don't even know that they've infiltrated until Winter Soldier.
So I gotta address this real quick. So, I know people are probably distracted by seeing all these people working together for the first time fighting aliens, but I do want us to keep in mind that I'm sure quite a few people died in this fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason
Died.
why this is a big this movie is a big sticking point in the MCU because
Stuff blew up.
Yes. I think they said like 8-10 people died. I'm like,
no, important people died.
Important people died.
What did they say? I think didn't they? Isn't there went out even all the way in the future for Civil War? Isn't there? They show how many casualties died in Battle of New York.
Well, they show the casualties for the battle in Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Keep talking.
Yeah, but it's like I want people to remember this because this is going to come a factor when I talk about Civil War later. But yeah, it's just
casualties happen.
Casualties
every
happen.
single movie.
Yeah,
every movie.
Yeah, here we go. 74 people died.
That's a miracle.
That is a miracle. Jesus.
74 total deaths, including civilians and officers, and $88 billion in property damage.
Okay.
That is the aftermath of the Tatari invasion in the MCU.
Well, I'm not buying that for 1 second. Sorry.
No.
You had a freaking one of those giant metal things topped on top of 5 buildings. No, people died. More than that died.
There's no way only 74 people died.
No. Yeah, it's just no. That's like I said. That's not a big deal right now because it's just cool to see everyone fight for the first time. But this becomes a factor in Civil War, which I will talk about later. But yeah, you got the shadowy figures that Nick is talking about. Oh, the Avengers we don't know if we can trust them, and they should be registered or something.
Why the fuck not? Can't you trust them? They just saved the world.
They just saved the world. Exactly. It's like if they didn't do anything, probably would have had an invasion going on right now. Oh, we do have to talk about when they impulsively tried to nuke the city.
Oh!
Nuke the city!
Yeah, nice call. Yeah.
Like, come on! Dude!
Yeah, whose call was it to nuke the city? Was it the government or was it those council assholes?
I feel like it was one of those council assholes.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, you're worried about who we can trust. Motherfucker.
Like, come on, bruh. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, they're so ready to pull the trigger at any moment. Oh, there's that government song we need.
Oh, yeah.
I'm government. I'm the reason nothing works.
Yeah.
It's blown up.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so glad Iron Man came and stopped the missile and put it in that portal in the sky. Oh, and that's where this plays a factor in the next film where he sees
He's PTSD.
He's PTSD. He sees the thing in space. Oh, well, don't worry. We'll get to
nightmares.
Nightmares. Whatever. Looking at it. Oh, look. I see a giant spaceship in space. I'm going to be traumatized now.
Well, the only thing I will give, a little leeway with is, that he had a near-death experience.
Yeah, I will give him that because
Okay.
he pretty much did nearly die.
Yeah.
And that is actually one thing I do really like about Iron Man 3.
It just wasn't handled.
They did not handle it
best
well.
way.
Like, Tony is pretty damaged. This movie does have severe repercussions to the entire MCU.
So if it was like a near-death experience and they just left it at that, I would have been okay. But more stuff they tried to shoehorn in there, which I will talk about next week. But yeah, and then there was a cool scene where Iron Man is falling down and Hulk catches him in midair. That was nice. And yeah, this movie's just full blown of great moments, and just it's a miracle that they were able to pull this off as well as they did, because everyone thought this was going to be a disaster. Keep in mind, this came out around the same time as Dark Knight Rises, and wouldn't you know, people actually liked DC more than Marvel for a point. Because people were looking at Avengers like, oh no, this ain't gonna work, this is gonna be stupid, and oh, wouldn't you know, this movie worked very well. So I guess the only thing to talk about now is the credit scenes. The first credit scene, we're in the middle of space where the head of Chitauri is talking to this mysterious figure in a chair, talking about that, yeah, the Earth is not going to be easy to be ruled because there's people that defend the Earth. And so he says that. I didn't know who. Now keep in mind, I didn't know who he was talking to. So I was like, oh, okay, there's probably another baddie for the next film. But then the head of the Chitauri says to him, to challenge them is to court death. And then that mysterious figure turns around and smiles. It's that big purple boy, Thanos. At that point,
we knew it was going down.
It was going to go down. I'm like, oh my god, they're going to do Thanos. I cannot freaking wait. And then the second credit scene is a nice little fun thing to have the audience leave with, where, you know, all the Avengers are eating at a shawarma place. That was funny. But yeah, very, very good. The actor who was Thanos in that credit scene,
was a black guy.
It was a black guy, yeah.
That's true. And I'm actually pulling him up, but it was a mask he wore.
Yeah. It's my second favorite design of his, because I liked Thanos' design in the Guardians films. Dean Poita.
He played Thanos in Infinity War. He was in Civil War, Star Trek, Jarhead, and Snow Dogs. He was in Civil War. He was a mercenary for Crossbones.
Oh, okay.
He was a random guy in Avengers and Thanos. And he was in the Hangover Part 3. He was Drill Hansen #1 in the 2009 Star Trek. And he was in Dreamgirls too, the Dreamgirls movie.
So he has all that material. I really want to see what he would have done with Thanos. I wish they could have kept him, but I'm still interested to see how Josh Brolin does the character. But yeah, just that was a really cool stinger there. Yeah, I couldn't wait for them to go more into Thanos. And we're going to get him this month for sure.
In a few days.
Lives up to the hype. But yeah, overall, I love the Avengers. It's really, really, really good movie. It met all our expectations when we thought this movie was going to suck. All the characters were great. The story was straightforward. The villain was really good. The action sequences were entertaining. It had some nice timed jokes, good dialogue. It's just, all around, it's a really good film. What keeps it from me from being perfect is, like I said, the fan service stuff that they tried to put in here. And the pacing could have been better towards the beginning. But other than that...
This movie also... Haven't we talked about before how this movie doesn't really stand on its own well? If you haven't seen
that's
the
right.
movies.
Yeah, so unless people don't really care about the previous films, like this movie, you would have to watch the previous films to get caught up with what's happening. Yeah, it doesn't really stand well on its own. But yeah, just if you don't care, then it's still a nice, it's still a fun movie to watch. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's just really, really good time. Very good film. I give the Avengers an A-. Captain Nagel.
Oh wow, an A-.
A-.
Why an A-? Because he gave Iron Man an A.
Yes, because I felt with Iron Man, it was more focused on being a film than being, a fan service comic book movie. And I felt the pacing was a lot better in that film. And it stands well on its own. That's why I give it an A-. Yes, I'm not... Yes, okay, for people that are about to be disliking and commenting... okay, guys, chill. Guys, I still love the film. But I think Iron Man is a stronger made film. That's not taking anything away from the Avengers. It's still a really good film. I just felt like Iron Man was more of a focused project. That's just how I feel. Still could get dislikes, comments here. I just type them. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe you said Iron Man was the Avengers is the best comic book film of all time. Nothing's better. Except Dark Knight is awesome. Okay.
No, hopefully people can be understanding.
I hope so. Like I said, I love the movie, guys. I gave
great.
it a positive review still. But anyway.
Trying to think if there's anything else that we didn't cover that should be said. I don't know. Yeah, it's a great, entertaining film. Probably give it an A or an A-. It's like pretty much on par with the first Iron Man for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you gave it A- too. Oh no, it's the greatest comic film of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Dr. Nick, what did you give the Avengers?
So I love this movie. I loved this movie. The only things I give it an A. Slightly, a smidge, a tiny smidge of nearly A+.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely give things A+, so I'm giving a solid A.
Mm-hmm. Good. So, yes, that is our thoughts on the Avengers, and that is our overall thoughts on Marvel Phase 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a nice, respectful comment, and...
Or just call us a bunch of bastards.
But overall, I think we had a consistent, pretty consistently good Phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 1.
But some little dips, but,
Overall, yeah, this is a very strong slate right here. I do think this is my favorite so far. I want to see how I feel when Phase 3 ends, but overall, yeah, this is the phase where I'm like, got me ready for this universe. So that's probably why it still holds very close to my heart. So tune in next week when we do Phase 2. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about that. Hope you guys tune in. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment. If you like what I do here, you can subscribe to my channel and you guys can get updated on future videos I'll be doing. If you want to share the video and let everyone else know how cool this video is, please share it. You guys have anything to plug in, Dr. Nick?
You can follow me on Facebook at Nick Folson, or you can follow me on Instagram at ActorBlurred. That's it. I have a Twitter, but it's really defunct. Those are my two ways to go. Yeah,
the reason I haven't really plugged anything right now is because I only have a Facebook. You guys can follow me at Dwayne Albert, and then my nickname's gonna be D-Wizzle on there, so you'll see my face. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have a Twitter yet or an Instagram, so we'll see how it goes later on down the line, how this channel does. But yeah, I don't have much to plug. What about you, Captain Eagle? You have anything to plug?
Other than I had a lot of fun with this video, and I look forward to doing more movie talks with you, D-Wizzle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You will definitely see these guys again on my channel. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next podcast or my next video. Talk to you all later. Goodbye.